One, two. Hello, humans. Welcome to Power Report Live. As you can tell, I'm still figuring stuff out, literally live and alive as we go. This is episode 68 of your Power Report. I went and figured out like all of the stuff I needed to. And yeah, it is we're chilling out here. Hello everyone in chat. Hello to Midnight Man, Jermaine Hauver, and Left of the Box. It's good to see all of you. I'm gonna have the whole panel and crew on in just a second as I get everyone here. But it's good to see you all. I want to hear how y'all think about the new graphics package that I've got right here. And I am working on getting the guests in right now. So, you'll get to see the live fun as I'm getting everyone in. But yeah, we have a great show. It's going to be jam-packed, fun, full of surprises for everyone. Mostly me included. But yeah, we'll have a good time. We're going to have Steve Bermucci on the program from Uprocks, and he does a bunch of other things. We're going to have Yasmin, who just joined off screen. And I'll have you on in a moment, Yasmin. I literally just redid the whole, like, what is it? The graphics package, as you can tell. And yeah, pros, it looks cool. Cons, it's actually unfinished. And I have to do all the stuff in real time, but I'm glad you can be here. I've made it so that people can hear you now.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Yes, you'll be on screen in just a moment. And
Okay, cool.
as will C's and Steve Ramucci, who I just need to tell that I'm ready. But in the meantime, Happy New Year. I've not said that to you properly, Yasmin.
That's true. Happy New Year. How was yours?
Mine was, not too bad. I think what do they say about New Year's? Like,
Always
don't,
a disappointment.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I've had some baller, great New Year's. I've also had some, these are the worst times of my life New Year's.
Yeah,
This was
same,
definitely
same.
right in between. And I think the thing you've got to do is it's just always hosted at your house.
It's the best. Or I usually my best New Year's are either at my own house or at like my best friend's house, and I can just go to sleep in the guest room and it's fine. Nobody cares. I'll wake up in the morning and go home. Those are
Yeah,
the best. Like low stakes, easy, low pressure. Just go to sleep.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love those kinds of deals
Yeah.
because I don't want to do a lot of work. I mean, actually, there's a time I used to be the party meister. I used to love putting on shindigs and events and stuff like that.
Oh God. Yeah.
And then I just got tired. And
It's a lot
I,
of work,
also,
you know?
I got so real talk. The one I got burned out from is not the one, but one of many was well, definitely the most recent one was with COVID happening, and so with that, I was I had planned all this, but I don't want to get everyone sick, so I can't do as big and bullshit as a plan as I really want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wasn't enjoying it at all.
I
That's it.
don't even remember what I did for New Year's Eve, like throughout COVID. I don't know, like this last year though, or like whenever it was, 2 weeks ago or whatever. I stayed home and we were gonna stay up and drink champagne at midnight, and then I just went to bed at 10. I was like, I'm tired, and I just went to sleep. I think this is the first New Year's where I didn't even stay up till midnight. I was just like, why? So I just went to bed.
I mean, you're right.
I was also sick a little bit. I got sick at Christmas,
Oh no,
so I was still kind of like not feeling any of it. So
I can.
especially when you're sick, like champagne like really doesn't feel like what my body needs right now.
Oh, I totally feel that.
Yeah.
While I'm getting Steve in, which will be an absolute blast, do you want to talk a little bit about your Europe trip?
Oh yeah, I did have a Europe trip. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
how's your little Euro trip?
It was unreasonably cold while I was over there.
Mm,
I was in London though when it snowed, and then I saw that it was making headlines back home, which was kind of cool. It was like in the New York Times, and we were there and it was freezing and we were in like these Christmas gardens and then it started snowing and it was like so magical. But everybody was freaking out because they're like, this never happens in London, especially not around Christmas time, and not in December at least. So that was it was pretty nice to be there. Especially I live in Houston. Like I never get to see snow and I go to London and I get to see snow.
Good for you.
Yeah, that was like the highlight. But it did derail our trip a little bit, but that's fine.
That's okay. And there I have Steve kind of in. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the magic of streaming and how I'm like just getting this together. How are you doing? Wait, unmute yourself. I think you're on mute.
I am on mute. That's always a good start. That's how you really want to lead off.
Way to make an impression.
That's right. That's right. And also, like, my ring light game isn't on point. I'm in a library. It's a little echoey, but
yeah, aren't you supposed to be quiet in the library? I remember you were telling me like, oh yeah, Dad, I'm gonna have to join from a library. I'm like, listen, all right, do you, brother, but like, are you sure?
I'm working from one of their little study rooms. This is the Laguna Beach, the Newport Beach Library, and they've built themselves this incredible place, and I exploit it all the time. Can use their resources.
The Newport Beach Library. I do declare.
What time do they close?
That's a good question. Hopefully not. I'm a short interstitial in this streaming event. I'm gonna come and make Dan some food. I really missed him, and I reached out and I was like, "Hey, let me do your show," and he said yes right away because he's nice to me. And then I was like, I don't really know what our topics are, etc. But I'll be good, and then I'll cook you food next week on your stream.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm actually thinking of having you on maybe like at the end of January because you mentioned drinks for me. And I think like a cool like, oh, what can people make for a dry January, kind of like the end of dry January thing would be like really rad to do.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, but what? Hold on, as I'm getting my stuff together, one of the things that has been happening a lot over the past couple days is this like fear over Joe Biden apparently coming for our gas grills and our gas stoves and all these other things and natural gas and all these different stuff. And so I am a vegetarian. I'm trying to work my way towards being a full vegan. And so I say that as a caveat. And I also say that as maybe my entire opinion should be removed from this conversation. And so like that being said, like this is all about saying, okay, so you know, the production of natural gas, it hurts the environment, all these other different things. But I've lived in places where, you know, the natural gas is a-flowing, like in Southern California. And I'm sorry to stereotype Yasmin, but I'm sure out in Houston, Texas, they let you have gas stoves.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But I used to live up in the Bay Area, up in Berkeley. And there, a long time ago, they got rid of, like, most of their gas, like, stoves and like ranges even for old buildings. So like I lived in a building that was built in the 1930s. It was an apartment building that used to be a brothel that was converted, and it had like an electric stove that was hidden and all like the electric like elements, and there's no gas whatsoever to put in there. So they had like completely removed all that stuff by city ordinance. And you know, maybe it was because, you know, it was college and I was using old appliances, but I hated using the gas ranges. I hated using the electric ranges because they were slow to heat up. I didn't feel like I was using things as well. But I'm really curious, Steve, like, because you do a lot of cooking. You also, like, you're a good connoisseur. Like, let's hear them out and say, like, okay, Joe Brandon's doing this big ban. First of all, is gas or electric better for cooking like the average meal? And second of all, would it bother you? Like, do you think you could work around it? Because like, if you think a true artiste, a true chef can figure it out. Maybe that's a loaded question, but I want to hear your thoughts.
No, those are good questions. I like those a lot. I mean, first of all, yeah, gas is better. It's more consistent. It warms up better. It has higher range of heat. It doesn't burn things, scald things in quite the same way. It heats deeper, and it works with better equipment too, whether that's the pans, etc. But with that said, and knowing what we know, which is that he was never actually talking about a gas ban, With that said, I think like one of the interesting things that should and could and maybe will eventually happen in culture is that people will go like, oh, we have to give up certain niceties in order to keep having a planet. And if this was one that I had to give up in order to keep having a planet, I would be perfectly fine with it. With that said, it's really a story about false flags, right? Because it's not happening.
Yeah. We're going to be talking a little bit later about like what is going to be the Republican strategy going into the next couple of bits, but like couple of years, especially as they've now just gotten control of the House. But yeah, it is a false flag, like you're saying. But Yasmin, do you also have any thoughts as well?
I had very similar thoughts actually to Steve. Yeah, I cook a lot and I do love a gas stove. There's nothing like a gas stove, but I feel the same way. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal if they stop making them because like we've known for a long time that gas stoves are not good to have in your home. Like that's not new information, right? And they say that it increases asthma in kids and things like that. I think there are probably other things that they could be focusing on if that's really their agenda is to get ahead of like asthma in children. Like there's probably other things that you can get rid of before gas stoves. But I can understand if like going forward they stop putting them in homes as default. Like this house, when it was bought, that was the default. It wasn't like they asked what kind of stove we wanted, you know? So things like that, I could see maybe dwindling those off. And yeah, I don't care. Like I'll switch to induction. They're cute, you know, they're easier to clean. And I hear that they're very good. I do like a gas stove, but I'll get rid of it.
Whatever. I love how you say induction is cute. I mean, I know some people who really like those stoves, but
they're very chic right now, I guess I'll say.
Chic,
like whenever you see, you know, all these like cooking people on YouTube, they always have their induction stoves and they're like, oh, put it on 3, and you're like, okay, whatever. It's like an induction thing.
That's the other thing is like cooking directions have to be different.
I think that's the part of it that I don't like. Just tell me medium or high or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be that serious.
It's new equipment, right? It is new equipment for chefs and for people who love to cook, but if we can't accommodate that, like if we can't make those small compromises, then we should probably just like give up. Are we going to ever compromise anything? Are we ever willing to, you know, like one of the constant things I see is people going like, yeah, like we need to be green, but also for me personally, like I like cars a lot. So I have 4 cars and I have a truck, and it's like, all right, like if we're not willing to do anything, then like just fuck it.
Yeah.
Can you correct on this?
You absolutely can. There are certain random words, as C's, our Twitch expert, will let us know that you like can't say on Twitch. But yeah, C's, as you are here, also welcome C's, welcome to the panel. Told you graphics go hard.
They do go hard. They slap.
Nothing to go easier than like when your previous graphics were basically just black and white, like as an angry principal. Nowhere to go but up. But no.
Now we're chic, so that's good.
Yes. So the gas stove thing annoys me, but just to tease a little bit of what I think is going to happen a little bit later, I think the Republicans like. We covered on Power Report, and I'm like really proud about this. The first 2 episodes or so we did in 2021 when Biden took over the White House, we were basically like, listen, the Democrats are talking about a COVID relief bill. They're talking about infrastructure. They're talking about a lot of things they may not get done, but they're talking about things. The Republicans are talking about Dr. Seuss books and cancel culture. And like, this is probably going to be the next 2 years of politics. And I don't know, it might work out for them because this is America, right? But we found out that it actually didn't work out for them. And I'm actually like fairly grateful. I have like, you know, a mild amount of faith restored. But, you know, we have a new Congress. We saw the first like week of them acting or not acting. And I don't mean to get too giddy in the beginning, but I think like if they keep going on this tag of, yeah, we're only going to be talking about fake scandals and other things like that, they may not get weeks like this all the time where they have absolute luck. Like, Oh, it turns out Joe Biden low-key kind of did the same thing Trump did with like stealing documents and keeping them for himself post like administration, right? Like they're going to have to pull scandals out of thin air, and at least electorally this last cycle around it didn't work for them.
Yeah, I was on the damage report when we were talking about the first batch of Biden docs, and I think what we said on the show, me and John, was basically, whatever, it's not the same as what Trump did in a lot of ways, but if you want to investigate him, then that seems reasonable. Investigate it, whatever. He has nothing to hide, then he has nothing to hide. If he does, and we all want to know, Democrats included, right? People who voted for Joe Biden included. Second batch, maybe it's worth looking into a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bit more of an urgent thing that we should all be talking about. So I think we'll have a lot more information in the coming days too about the second batch of documents. Should be interesting. What was the question? What were you?
It wasn't really a question. It was just sort of like I was setting up the story, but like I'm curious what your thoughts are, because like, yeah, I was sort of the same way. I'm like, okay, it's good that, and I still think that I don't think they're necessarily comparable. Like, Donald Trump was asked, like, bro, we found some missing documents. Like, okay, we keep them in order of, like, A through Z. We're missing, like, M through Q. Like, what's up here?
Several times he was asked, yeah.
Yeah, he was asked several times. He refused to give up the documents. They had to, like, FBI storm his, like, Mar-a-Lago and find more documents. And Joe Biden is, like, he has people who are, like, cleaning up his office, and they're like, oh, we should like the first thing they did was like they told officials and they said, okay, we found these documents, Akko Taco, but like here they are. Like they sent them back to the National Archives, and so they're handling it differently. That's one major difference from all of this. But at the end of the day, like, having classified documents when you're not supposed to have them after the presidency, like we've been talking about, this is a federal crime. Like, you're not supposed to do this. Like with Donald Trump doing them and being so lenient with them, it's a federal crime. Like on paper, like you did them. I definitely say there's more of a case with obstruction of justice when it comes to the Trump side, but I'm curious, like, especially in the case of public opinion, right? Because a lot of people are gonna say, oh, well, Biden hid documents too, right? Like it definitely makes the case against Trump harder, right? Like I'm curious if like Caesar, Steve, any of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it's like barely consistent for both. It's one thing to find documents in a lock cabin, a lock cabinet inside the White House, and another one to go down to Florida, and they have to do an FBI raid to hand over documents. Feeling like one's a little bit I'm not really feeling like that's equal. Now I know that that's the fun narrative that a lot of the conservatives are pushing. It's like, hey, what? Look, didn't you see what he said? Oh my God! Like, no, look, he's bad too. Like, no, it's not the same energy at all. But of course, at the same time, it's still breaking a rule. And what I think Biden did first is immediately, he immediately worked with investigators. He immediately compromised. They didn't become some kind of battle. It didn't become a war back and forth and all this. And remember, Trump was the one that outed himself about the situation. They didn't out him first. He outed himself when it came to the documents, only based on his immature behavior. And I think that Biden did the best handled it the best he could and handled the situation, because who knows? As we know, there's a lot of people that had hands, things go through interns, all kind of stuff can go down. We don't know exactly what happened. That's why there's an investigation, and Biden cooperated with it. I think it's fair to just kind of wait to see what's really going on before jumping to like how a lot of the conservative media sites are jumping to like, where there's smoke, there's fire kind of situation, when I don't think it's that way, but I'm going to wait to see kind of what more comes out of it.
Yeah, Cease, you're just too fucking fair though. Like you're just so smart and logical, and I just worry most people will just like go into, okay, like which sports team am I on? And they're going to be like, score one for Donald because old Bidey did the same thing. He was like licking ice cream and stealing documents.
Yeah, they cut slack to Sleepy Joe a little bit. Come on, man. I thought they called him Sleepy Joe. Now he's alert and aware of everything. Like, what?
Steve, what are you gonna say?
I mean, among the pleasures of being liberal, right? Like one of the greatest pleasures of being liberal is this fucking sanctimonious feeling we get that we're better. And it only works. Like that's a great joy of liberalism, right? Like people really genuinely, you sit around with, especially my mom's generation, you sit around with her generation of liberals, who I think the four of us might often call lawn sign liberals, and that they don't take it to the level that maybe true liberalism ought to take it, but they feel this incredible self-satisfaction about not being like the right and not being like Trump. And if you're going to have that and bask in that and enjoy in that, you have to really do your best to be better. And that's a weird double standard, because you're facing off people who are unrepentant in their willingness to be bad. But knowing that they're going to take little things like this and twist it in the right way for their audiences, I don't know, like we just have to make that effort. Now, stuff's going to come up, obviously. Who's not going to forget a couple documents in a closet? But
who among us?
Who among us? Like
we're cleaning some stuff, we accidentally stole some stuff from our like old office job. Like, hey, some people call it looting. Like, hey, it's like, oh, here's a stapler I had. Oh, here's some of my old boss's social security number that he happened to have left out on his desk. Whoopsie, damn it, like happens.
Yeah, I would accidentally leave the nuclear codes somewhere almost immediately, I'm sure. But I'm just saying, if we're going to have that self-satisfaction of being better, we got to be rigorous as hell, man. And our candidates and our representatives have to be rigorous as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of goes back to the Michelle Obama thing. Like, we got to go high when they go low. And it's like bitten us in the ass a few times, where we're just just in a real, because we have to be, right? Like we've set ourselves up to a higher moral standard against this other side, right? Like, I don't necessarily like that terminology, but I mean, that is what it is in this case, right? Say they are immoral. They will do whatever they have to do to push their agenda, to move whatever needle they're trying to move. But we're better because we always will default to the ethical or moral standard, right? And we know that that isn't even true, right? We know that like a lot of our politicians on the left, mid-left or far left, right? Like a lot of them do have, questionable intentions, motives, things like that. That's just what's going to happen in politics and even in media, right? But for the people, it's like what Steve was saying, like we do hold ourselves up to a higher standard, and we are very proud of that. We hold ourselves up. We see ourselves as intellectuals, whereas we see them as on the other side as maybe like more spiritually driven, like they think more in terms of religion and things like that. Whereas on the left, they tend to think more in science terms. And I think that's a nice way of putting what I'm trying to say.
That was delicate.
I'm really trying hard to be good with my words right now.
Yeah, let's be open-minded.
And it's true, because I don't think that people on the right are stupid, right? I don't think that they are. I think that their values are different. I think they were raised differently. I think they think differently than a lot of people on the left, and that's not necessarily their fault or even their, a bad thing about them, right? It's not something that can't be a good thing, and it's not something that can't add to the diversity in this country, right? Which I think is what we need. And ultimately, though, I think that it is disingenuous when we have all these politicians who are speaking on people's behalves, right? And they are disingenuous, right? They can't be trusted. Their motives aren't real. And they have all these other things going on that they're trying to juggle. And meanwhile, the American people are just trying to process all of it. And we're just looking like, who can we trust? Who out there can we actually trust to do their job and to not be a shitty person, right? And it's very confusing for the average American citizen. And it's kind of disheartening. And it's no surprise that so many people are disillusioned by politics and politicians. We are. I know Dan and I are in a lot of ways, as far as just what goes on and what can be done about it or what won't be done about it. So it's tricky. It's all tricky.
Where I do find hope, at least, is there's a lot of fun happening in local politics. Like, look at Florida, like in the same place where you had you have some of the wildest politicians out there, like Ron DeSantis. You also have Maxwell Frost, I believe. I think that's his name, but like he's the Gen Zer who was elected in Florida, who is a big person from March for Our Lives, and he was talking about how like, listen, I have an insane privilege of like I'm going to have my first year in Congress and I'm going to make a 6-figure salary, and I'll finally be able to pay off all of my credit card debt. But running my candidacy and running my like election process and like being a kid outside of college and growing up, like I was basically drowning in credit card debt. And I am one of the few like non-land owning people in Congress right now. And finally someone's going to be speaking to like renters' interests. And it's like, damn, there aren't a lot of people in Congress who rent. So like there aren't a lot of people who like understand stuff that we're dealing with. And so I think through that, like you're seeing through local politics and local initiatives, like people who are on the ground more and seeing cool things. And like, it sort of reminds me of Steve. I know you have to go really soon, but like, I want you to tell me about that story, where, someone, you know, that other people like might be a little bit familiar with was actually doing something down in Boyle Heights, which is like a predominantly Latino neighborhood in Los Angeles. Can you please go into that a little bit?
Yes. So this was the coolest if we were doing like our weekly, like mid-pandemic when you and your friends all got on and like gave a little checkup. This was the coolest thing I've seen in a little while. I do a lot of work lately, especially with Will.i.am, and he's just to me, one of the most interesting brains of our era. The way he thinks about stuff is really unique. And yesterday in Boyle Heights, he was giving this speech, and I kind of knew why I was there, but I didn't fully understand. And he had been the architect of a plan to bring free Wi-Fi to the entire neighborhood of Boyle Heights, about 10,000 people, I'm under the impression. Completely free, better than Wi-Fi that I have here at this library or any of us have at our houses. And he did it by just kind of bridging a whole bunch of different, LA Unified School District and the Housing Authority and a Wi-Fi company and all these things to bring his whole neighborhood wireless. And his mission has become the connection gap, what he calls the connection gap. And so that was his whole pursuit, was to bring his neighborhood wireless. He just did it yesterday. There's all these houses now that have high-speed Wi-Fi. So it's a pretty incredible story.
That's great, honestly. Like first of all, Will.i.am still out there. Like I knew that Black Eyed Peas made music at some point last year, but like still killing it, still kicking it. But no, like there's little things like how do I say this without doxing myself? I live in a certain part of Los Angeles that actually, this is easy not to dox myself when I start to get into it. I live in a certain part of Los Angeles where people love to go on live streams and report on like what they think is crime, but what is really just like unhoused people going through it. And like I'll say it, like it's in like the central like Hollywood area, right? And it's like you often see people who are just like taking the wrong community approach to like solving problems. But like when you actually put things together, it's like, okay, what resources do we have? How can we actually help people? That's actually much better to see around here. So I'm glad that people are working towards things like that. I hope like more people can find. I've always encouraged like more local involvement in the politics. So if people who are watching ever feel discouraged with things like that, like I always say, check out local politics and see how that can work for you, because it is always a lot more like there's a lot more you can do.
Yes, and I'll do the improv thing before I go. Yes, and by following local politics, one of the biggest problems with our era is that the media doesn't have the money to follow local politics. The guy who did a couple different shows, Treem down in New Orleans, and then I can't believe I'm forgetting it. What's the show from Baltimore, the greatest television show of all
Wire.
time? What?
The Wire.
Yeah, The Wire. So the showrunner for that show said about 15 years ago that we were entering the greatest period of small politic corruption in the history of our country because media wasn't able to cover it. And so not only are you serving a double purpose by telling people to get involved on the local level, because one, they'll be helping. And as in the case with Will, it's easier to see your help when you go, okay, those households have wireless now. But also two, there'll be eyeballs on a political situation that doesn't get a ton of eyeballs and doesn't get a ton of media coverage.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's my thesis at the end of the night.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Good. I like that. Steve, you'll have to be back on again in the future. Thank you for making it work and taking the time out.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I feel horrible about lighting in here and my internet, but I'm going to make you a cocktail and it's all going to be made up for.
You know what? The lighting, I mean, it's more the internet connection has been remarkably good throughout this entire thing. Like I was most worried about that, like, ooh, library, but you know what? I gotta stop crapping on public services. It's only because I went to the DMV.
Library.
It's only because I went to the DMV yesterday where like I'm getting a little, might check the R next time. No, I'm just kidding. But like, no. That all went good.
So Dan gets a cocktail, but C's and I get no cocktails, I guess.
No, you get cocktails. It's going to be a reunion. It's an in-person show.
Let's coordinate for the next episode for sure. All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Steve, let people know where they could find you really fast before you dip.
Oh, find me at Uprocks. I do everything I do at Uprocks. UPROXX-life. The whole life section is my domain. And I also am the showrunner for the shows People's Party with Talib Kweli, if you're into rap and social justice, and the show Fresh Pair with Just Blaze, if you're into rap and sneakers.
Yeah, you've been nice enough to let me sit in for a People's Party episode, and that was sick. So love that. Love everything you do. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Maybe even get you on an audio phase episode because I'll be sick. But thank you very much. I'll let you go now. Have a good one.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
So, that was fun. What do y'all want to do? We have a lot of stuff to get to. We have a lot of interesting things. I'm a little bit dealer's choice on this. Actually, I'll read through some chats while you think about that, not to put you all on the spot.
Well, I was gonna say, and this is on my mind because I just like discovered this. Let me pull it up. But did you see Ben Shapiro is doing movie criticism now? Have you seen this?
Well, he's done a little bit.
It looks like he has seen. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. Can you
No.
send it to me on God? What's the easiest thing for me to access right now? Can you text it to me?
Yeah, let me find it.
Yeah, if that's possible, can you text it to me and I can get it on the screen semi quickly? Yeah, y'all have to understand how hard it is for me to host a show and set up a new graphics so quickly. But thank you for being here. First of all, I love that I already have trolls who are mad at me for starting the show late, which is like, fair, balanced, and unafraid. So Jermaine Harver, I see you being all like, started 2 minutes ago. Nope. LOL. Because there's that little notification on YouTube that says like started X minutes ago. Yeah. Listen, we run on CPT here at Power Report. I'm trying to get better, and honestly, 6:0. I started like 6:05. That's not bad. Yeah, I think.
Okay, I just texted it to you.
Thank you. I'm gonna get it.
I think the bigger issue is that you dunked on the libraries, and as the representative of libraries, I don't appreciate you coming at libraries like that. That wasn't really cool, man.
I didn't appreciate that either.
Yeah, that wasn't cool, man.
I like the library.
I was raised in the library, dog.
DMV. Clearly, you forgot where you came from. Then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take that L. I mean, like. See, I'm gonna save the one I got in the chamber for UCs for a little bit later. Once it's like all said and done, I'm gonna wait till it's all official. Yasmin, you don't even know about this, but like I can't wait till it's all official. I'm just gonna wait.
This feels like a hit piece, and I'm not enjoying it.
Exposed.
On
No.
the first the episode of the year, already there's a chamber
on
for me
public
ready.
libraries. Oh god.
Scotty B's Wild Ride. Howdy, y'all. Good to see you. Adam Rish, Happy New Year, everyone. We were talking about the oven range conversation. And Adam Rish was like, I literally never use the range on my oven. In fact, I never use the oven, period. Microwave all the way. Now, listen, I'm not going to hate on microwave.
Whoa.
I'm not going to hate on microwave stuff, right? Because you go to Trader Joe's, you get some frozen veggies. Like you get my personal favorite thing is the, not that they do advertising, but they should maybe once they let their workers unionize. But like, what's that like? Chimichurri vegetable mix that they have, like that goes hard. So yeah, I don't mind doing that for sure, but no, make it a New Year's resolution to start to get fancy with the skillet a little bit. Like absolutely, it's well worth it.
I think I might like be aging myself a little bit, but as soon as you said like using a microwave for everything, the first thing I thought of was that episode of Flavor of Love on VH1. I don't know.
Caesar's in there.
Shows in TV history. Oh my god.
Caesar's in there.
When Hottie decided to make like the challenge was to make Flavor Flav chicken, and she decided to cook it in the microwave, and she's like, this is the healthiest way to cook food anyway.
I was like, this is why I love you, VH1.
So good. But I was just like, as soon as you said microwave, I was just like, oh no.
Not the nukem approach is the good way to go.
Yep. That's what she's doing for everything. Fried chicken.
Damn.
So I don't know if that is that old of me to have said that, but
no, not at all. I used to have cable when VH1 used to exist. I'm just getting through. I'm just getting through a little more. I'm just getting through a few more chats, and then
how's the chat looking?
Yeah, chat's popping. It's great. Adam Rish says, "I'm happy to compromise. Send Trump to jail and make Biden bow out of 2024." That's what we call a wash, baby. That's good. Like, but
the sweep right there.
You don't get that good in politics.
No.
Let's see. Bad Lefty says Dark Brandon would handle prison better than Trump. Come on, man. Sees who you got. I never thought I would like in my head do like old man
Brandon
cage fighting,
Trumpster.
but like
I'm gonna go Trump because
chat. What do you think?
You gotta get real scummy in prison, and if there's one man knows how to get scummy is Trump. Brandon he's just doing his same line to people, making people mad, saying like, "Don't talk to me, Jack. Go away, Jack." He's gonna keep saying that, and they're gonna get mad. I don't think it's gonna work, but I would take Trump over Biden in prison. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Dan did the library thing. I'm going to take Trump over Biden.
It's the prison
Dark
shank.
Brandon. Dark Brandon is a force to reckon with, though.
I was going to say, I think I see what you're saying, but I could also see it going very much the opposite way. Like I could see Biden kind of like charming people a little bit. Not that I think that he's charming, like everybody calm down, right? But he would be kind of like a little bit smoother, I think, with people, and he can kind of like get people to like him. Whereas Trump, I think people would either be very sycophantic with him, or they'd be like, this guy's an idiot and he's just fronting, and everybody knows this. He's been doing this since like the 80s, Mm-hmm. And so maybe people would just like recognize him in that space as a chump, whereas people on the outside were like, oh, I don't know, he seems like what he's doing. Those guys in there, they know what a gangster is, like they know what that is, and they can recognize when you are not that. That's what I think.
Trump was friends with Omarosa, and I feel like if you've been friends with Omarosa, you can survive through anything in life. And I'm gonna die on that hill. I don't care what chat is saying right now. I don't
Omarosa care. is the worst.
It doesn't get more demonic than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
God, she was the worst. She was always.
Did you ever see her on Big Brother? It was like, what is going on?
I saw clips. I never watched the show, but I saw clips of her on Big Brother, and I was like, why are you the way you are? Like, just.
She's talking about getting fired. It was one of the funniest things I ever watched on that show. It was so great.
And then she got a 6-figure salary to work in the Trump White House doing God knows what. Like, nobody knows what she did. She was just there as like a consultant or something.
She was doing things.
The infamous doing Trump cabinet. Oh, that was good times. The rotating chairs.
Okay.
Those were good times.
I am just about to get the thing you sent up, Yasmin, and also about to make Skype work so you can experience the wonderful things I'm seeing on my screen. But
shout out these graphics, by the way.
Thank you. I'm trying out here. I really wanted to get them to move, but like I'm just not smart enough to get all the transparencies to work. Also my computer might crash. So we might just have to deal with these for a minute, but it's all good. So I haven't seen Glass Onion, so you might have to walk me through this, Yasmin. Have you?
Yeah, I just watched it.
Awesome. I'm fine with seeing spoilers because my close friends are like film people, and so I've like seen them have the discourse about it, so it's all good. I get through shows so slowly. I'm just getting through Breaking Bad, so like don't expect me to get to this anytime soon. So spoilers might be abound. Absolutely, dude. I'm so bad at I cannot. I'm doing music and like politics. Like I can't possibly
be watching movies.
Yeah. I was trying to explain this to someone today, but you know what? Never mind.
So apparently,
yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Ben Shapiro originally like wanted to be a movie writer.
Oh no. Please find the video because it's on YouTube. There was actually, it's not a movie writer, but there's a video of Ben Shapiro getting rocked in a book review of someone just being like, okay, you wrote this book, but like it's kind of dumb. You want to talk about that?
Here, I'm sending you a link right now.
Cool.
Ben Shapiro is a failed screenwriter. No wonder he doesn't understand Glass Onion.
Okay, yeah, let me get this on the screen, Rooney, and look at that. Okay. So he went on this like 17 tweet thread about the movie. What is, if possible, because this is like a really like high level thing. What is the okay, here's one dumb part. He says, I regret to inform you that Glass Onion is actually bad. He has a whole like thread about it.
Voice.
Actively bad, yeah.
Ben Shapiro voice only.
I'll discuss first the actual writing of the movie, followed by the politics of it, and both suck. Spoilers to follow. I'll have a 3-point diagram that will help you explain exactly how I feel about this. Like, absolutely not. No. So sorry, I'm not angling at my camera properly. I need to like look down a little bit. And so here's exactly how I feel about the show, and that's exactly how it makes me feel bad. Okay. So what in this is there anything in the thread in specific that like, because you go on and on for a while with Benny Pepino, but like,
yeah.
Oh my god, how many tweets, dude?
Like 17.
He's
oh my god, stop.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Musk stuff? Because he goes like now to the politics, or do you want to talk about like the
thing? We're just following along, and everybody's just in this thread refreshing for Shapiro's tweets.
Okay, so like if you haven't seen the movie, right, and we already said that there might be spoilers here, right? The main character, it seems like the reason why Ben Shapiro took this movie so personally is because he's like a cuck for Elon Musk, right?
Well, yeah,
and Elon Musk types are critiqued in the movie, right? Pretty heavily. So, and that's like, one of the big, it's like a fairly obvious point in the movie, but it is well done, right? And so it seems like that's what Ben Shapiro took issue with, and that's why he's upset, and he's just mad about the whole movie. And he's so arrogant and like up his own butt that he's like, everybody else is dumb, and I'm the one who knows about movies, apparently, knows about writing, even though he's like not really a writer. And he is critiquing the movie for just like everything. And it's very clear in his particular critiques that it's like, did you just not get it? Like, do you not know how these movies work? These types of movies, murder mysteries, especially comedic murder mysteries. So he's mad because there was like a big redirect kind of in the middle of the movie, which is a little bit unconventional, right? But like one of his tweets, he's like, why the misdirect? Because the story itself is in the purest form is incredible laziness. It relies on not one, not two, but 3 bad writing tropes, an identical twin, that's not a bad trope, a comprehensive journal, not necessarily a bad trope, depending on how it's done, and a moron of a murderer, right? Are those tropes, or are those just things that like kind of tend to happen in movies and stories sometimes? And I mean, like the moron for a murderer is a thing, but also like the genius of a murderer is also a thing, so it's like, I don't know, pick one. But his thing is, somebody responded, said the misdirect is because it's a murder mystery, Benjamin. And like, that's what it is. Like, he just completely missed the point of all of it, right? And maybe he was sad because he couldn't figure out the ending on his own, but the movie is kind of set up in a way that, you don't have a lot of information until the last minute anyway. So I don't know, but it's just like, why this whole thread about this, why are we doing this?
I think no, God, it's not it. But yeah, I think all this stuff, like not even having seen the film, I think that you're entering this point in conservative politics, like I said, where Shapiro and all these other people are going to be grasping at straws, because I am unfortunately a nerd, and so unfortunately I've been paying attention to politics for a long time. But I remember Paul Ryan, and he was all about like as I'm scrambling to find like he was all about like the debt ceiling, and he had all these like austerity measures, and like we hated them, they sucked, like we wanted to fight against them, they were problems, but like damn, they were policies. like they were like, okay, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, we're gonna like take this measure. Like the thing about, and I don't want to get into this like extremely, but like the thing about the whole holding the McCarthy speaker vote hostage that people tried to compare to force the vote, like at least with the force the vote argument, the ask was hold a floor vote for Medicare for all. The ask from the Republicans was like, make it so we can make it so you're not speaker anymore, which is kind of what you're doing now, which would be equivalent to Nancy Pelosi, we're going to force the vote on you being speaker. And Nancy Pelosi saying, okay, I don't want that. What do you want in return? And them saying, okay, in return, we want you to not be speaker. So it's just like, it's a circular thing. You can't use your leverage to get what you want unless you're actually drawing out your ask. And that's the Republicans right now. They don't have anything to ask. They don't have anything to talk about. And so when it comes to the pundit class, the media class, you're going to be getting like these really tired, oh, damn, let me talk about this cultural thing that's happening. Let me talk about this like moment or whatever. Like, okay, now we're getting to gas grills and stoves, like, which is like the non-issue. Like, this is the warning, the great warning that was had was that like, okay, we're going to be returning back to the Bush years, the Obama years, where we're just talking about drivel and nonsense. And like, I think that's definitely here. Like, I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, like the Dijon mustard era of politics again, and the tan suit.
Yeah, but Biden better watch what he gets on his burgers. It better be nothing. It better be
nothing elitist at all.
Nothing but a French's mustard.
Only French's. French's or no mustard at all. You only get French's, Joe. And I mean, but like also Trump eating his steaks with ketchup is also hilarious. So. Yeah. Two can play at that game.
This is literally big baby man.
I tried to forget about that. I did a good job of like almost that.
That's criminal.
But
they do that in Brazil, but I'm not going to snitch on anybody.
No. Brazil, like really? Oh my god.
You want to?
I'm not snitching on anybody.
You want to shift a little bit to? I mean, You want to talk about Brazil just like really fast for a couple minutes, because like it depends if you want to or not. See, it's like I could go on to other stuff, but like
we could dunk on Brazil real quick. I'm down.
I mean, like it's not so much of a dunk. It's just so like,
well, not Brazilians, but those people that showed up to, you know.
Yeah. So there's that. Well, how do we call? We want to call it like a failed insurrection.
It was more of like a failed inspiration of an insurrection. It was like it had. I mean, just to go, Brazilians have always been big time Ameriboos. I mean, if there's anything that Brazil loves to do is to idolize, copy, and regurgitate a lot of things that are popularized in America, but at a much later time. And of course, in Brazilian fashion, you know, they do the Bolsonaristas, or the Bolsonaristas, whatever you want to call them, decide to do their own version of January 6th 2 years later, because, you know, that's how Brazil gets down. We do everything way later, you know, like when 50 Cent released Get Rich or Die Trying and went platinum like 3 years later in Brazil. That's how we get down. We take a little time to get stuff down there. They invade the capital on a weekend when you know damn well no Brazilian politicians are working on a weekend. Like, no way. Not even no one's working in Brazil, especially a politician on a Sunday. They're invading the capital on a weekend. Nobody's there. It's dead empty. They're just kicking down glass. They're recording themselves, even though we all saw that the fact that got everybody caught up was the recording.
You know, that was my favorite part, is I was like, okay, you're supposed to be like, you know, I'm inspired by this insurrection. Like, this is what's got me going. I'm like, did you not see what happened to them? And like,
haven't you ever heard of we can do the same but better? Is that not a policy that runs through their brain? Like, we could do the same thing but better. No, they were like, let's just do the same thing literally.
and like the thing I was joking about with C's was like, you know, I am an American who doesn't know like all that much about politics in Brazil, and I don't know how much things go there, but you know, in the United States, once they caught all those people who like were caught like charging the Capitol, they threw the book of them. Like, they gave them like, you know, in some cases days in jail, in some cases weeks and months in jail. Based on my knowledge, the Brazilian police are going to be much nicer, right?
Well, the big difference I'd say is that, you know, insurrection here, January 6th here, there was like, they just had like 3 cops working the whole thing, and it was like, you know, they were getting beat up on. It wasn't like they were having a good time. In Brazil, a lot of cops actually let them in and were like allowing them to pass and get in. But the funniest video clip to me is the moment when the military showed up and they all like started clapping, thinking like, we did it, like military coup time.
We did it, Patrick. And we saved the city.
That's not what they were there for. That was like the best moment. It was like, yeah, they're here. And it's like, wait, what?
Wait, are we the baddies?
What are you guys doing? Well, hold on. Yeah, so it was, a lot of cops, and Lula I think did a great job of addressing it. He did a great job addressing that, you know, taking immediate action. And a lot of them, it was actually really great because what's funny is that what they did is they rallied a lot more support for people, for democracy. It became the push in Brazil is like, we're not going to let them affect democracy. They're destroying democracy. Now, like, we want to get democracy back, and all that. That kind of became the thing that became the push that even a lot of popularized, like corporations and like federations in Brazil are rallying behind, is saying that, like, you know, like, we're not going to let you guys use the flag as a weapon against democracy. That's kind of like a little bit of like the charge that that's pushed through since then, because just like America, also Brazil as conservative party used the flag as like a demonstration of the right wing. And it's been it kind of like, once again, it literally, you copied something and you just did it even worse at a worse timeline, and it's blowing back 10 times fold. And I don't think it gained, and it looked like the numbers were smaller too. I think it just like, it was just dumb. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. But at the same time, it's sad too, because it's like, you know, where are we getting to the point where people are just being so brain dead with the information they're receiving that they think that this is like the course of action they're taking, and you know, it makes me really uncomfortable with like the kind of like media that's being pushed, especially in Latin America, South America, and what's going on. It just sucks that we got to that point, because I don't, even though it's dumb, like, I still don't want that to happen. Like, it's not a good look. Like, you still don't want that to go down, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And you know, like, Steve Bannon's involved too. You know, it's really sad because you kind of see the same patterns. And anytime you look at like a conflict similar to this one, you know, especially involving fascism or the rise of fascism or whatever you want to call it, there's always propaganda, and it's all very similar, right? And so you would think that at some point in history we would be able to see what's happening and recognize patterns, say this feels a lot like this other thing that happened that I read about or I was there for or whatever. But it just doesn't happen. Like, people just keep falling for everything over and over again. And I think a lot of it just comes down to ego. You know, like, we all think that we're too smart to be tricked and too smart to fall for something. And I'm smarter than everybody else, so I'm seeing what this really is, even though everybody else thinks it's this. They're all wrong. I'm the one who has it all figured out, and I'm the one who's going to be on the right side of this at the end of the day. It's all about winning at a later date, right? Everybody wants to win. Everyone wants to say something today and be able to say tomorrow that I was right yesterday, right? When really, it's like, who gives a shit, Like, just, we're all trying to live our lives. Like, this isn't making people's lives better, right? And, you know, it sucks because these propagandists, the people who push certain messages on entire populations of people, they're taking grievances that they have that are actual real concerns and pretending like they care about them when really they don't, right? All they're doing is using those people, and they're using their distress, whatever, living situation that they're dealing with that they want remedied, right? The thing that is upsetting them and detracting from their quality of life, they're taking that, pretending to care about it, and then actually offering them no solutions, right? So these people are never going to get the better life that they are seeking. They're never going to achieve anything meaningful. The only thing that they're going to do is to put somebody terrible in a position of power, and then they will trick themselves into thinking that that guy is there fighting for me, when really he's not. Like, they never are. These authoritarians are never fighting for the people who put them in power. They put them in power, they get there, fine, they're done, they can do whatever they want now. It doesn't matter what the consensus is. It doesn't matter the protests and all the public discord, because it doesn't matter. Once you're in that position, it's very hard to take someone out of that position. So, and they know that.
And this is actually I think that's a really good segue to broadening out the context to what's happening in South America right now. Shit's like kind of popping off a little bit. Like, you're talking about how you have, a similar story, and as we always caution, do your best to, of course, if you can draw similarities insofar as they help you as an individual understand different situations, like, for sure, but don't try to draw too many parallels between what's happening in the United States and what's happening abroad, right? But take what's happening in Peru, where a lot of Western media isn't really talking about this, but you had Pedro Castillo, who was this, left-wing politician who, by no means is necessarily perfect, but the Western media is mostly reporting that he was taken out of power because he tried to dissolve Congress. He tried to dissolve Congress because the Congress was filled with half corporatists who wanted to replace him, and half people who are influenced by not the unions, but the bosses of the unions, who are like, yo, wait, we as the bosses of unions were pretending to appeal to workers, but getting our fat checks on the side. This Castillo guy's actually for real. He's about to topple our apple cart. Let's change that. And so when you look at that broader appeal, it was a actual, not just some bozos storming the Capitol for their Twitch streams, right? This was a coordinated effort within the government to overthrow a left-wing socialist, pretty right-wing when it came to social issues, very anti-gay, just because how you come with Peru. But this is a pro-worker politician who's ousted in this case, and now you're having days and days of protests that are going on. We are seeing really terrible stuff. I think 48 people, something like that, have been killed in these protests. It's between police and other people. I think one police officer was burned completely. It is getting really wild out there, but I think it gets to, if you can draw any lessons from these, it's what do people want? And when you have all this chaos, I think the people were more or less okay with their democratically elected government.
Yeah. Isn't that that's what they're protesting?
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be to me.
I mean, it's people want their voices heard, right? A lot of times when you see these uprisings, a lot of times it comes down to, and I really don't mean to oversimplify this.
Yeah.
But there's always a theme where you have a minority trying to govern a majority population, right? And the majority population, and that's it's always going to be that case, right? Like there's always going to be some degree of that, right? Whether it's a race thing, a religious thing, or like a class thing, right? Like the rich elites who are trying to govern all the other serfs in America or whatever the country is,
Yeah.
right? So there's always going to be that divide there. But the problem is, you know, certain countries have the guise of a democracy. Like they live under the guise of a democracy. These people in Peru, they voted for their leaders. In Brazil, they voted for their leaders, right? And then they're seeing people try to upset that balance. So even in a democracy, people are still feeling like their voices aren't being heard. People are out in the streets protesting, but just because one or two people in government don't think that they want to step down from their positions or whatever, like George Santos is a good example, right? Everybody wants him gone, right? And he won't step down. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. Everybody wants him gone. That's not democratic, you know. Technically, he was elected and he won his election, whatever. But people are like, it's like at the end of the day, people are just being tricked and they're tired of being tricked. And I don't blame them. It's really exhausting. And they just want people in power who actually represent them and who will actually work for them, right? Otherwise, why do we have these governments? What are they there for? Who are they helping?
Yeah. C's, any thoughts? Like last thoughts?
Yeah. It's frustrating to see, especially when it comes to Latin America and seeing how the politics has been. I would say honestly, since like after kind of like that first Lula tenure, seeing like the destabilization of like all the different like governments in the regions, from like what happened in Chile to how Argentina, like it feels like that weapon of like, you know, alternate giving people, feeding people the Steve Bannon approach to media and all the lies and the corruption and the allegations and stuff, the way they structured it to be skewed so people have now mistrust in the information they receive and are just voting off of like the passion they feel for, you know, someone who's like, you know, the right wing candidates that really like to bring big, like explosive talking points to rally people to get upset and make a movement, not only towards voting for something, but like obstructing government property or like changing rules that have already been passed and stuff like that. It sucks because what you're doing is you're just feeding and you're giving gasoline to people who, you know, aren't doing as economically better as a lot of the Western world is, or Europe. And you know, all they have left really when they don't have a lot in terms of money and resources is they have their passion. And it's just disgusting to see that that's what they're tapping into consistently to get people to do dumb stuff like this. And I think like the especially with George Santos, who, you know, a fellow Brazilian,
allegedly
Ukrainian, Jewish, you know,
Jewish, just like
Jewish, member of the community as well. You know,
coming this fall on ABC.
That was the most ridiculous thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. No, you're good. One of the greatest like spawn points I've ever heard in my life. You can't come into the world and live a life and have with the better like diagram of like attributes than this man has. I mean, that was a rundown. He every box he was checking it. Like, you know when you first like were applying to college and then they were like asking you like, oh, these things, he was checking everything. Like he did not.
Yep.
Yeah. He was like, oh, ethnicity. He's like, check. He's like, oh, that's me. That's like, I was like, wow, I was the opposite. I checked nothing. This guy was just over there busy on that first form. I'm like, wow, that guy's cool. So, yeah, but it sucks that people are like, oh, I don't care that we were both Republican. You literally lied. Like, I don't want you here. You scammed me. It's like, it's like you're a scammer. Like I don't want you here. And he's not stepping down. So we're seeing, I think, a lot of like a frustration that's going to happen with the people. And when you see people scheming their way into positions, it makes you really want to reconsider, like, do we have to have some kind of different kind of vetting process? Like, what's really going on here when someone like George Santos is able to just finesse his way in with campaign financing as well too, all the way. So I hope they do something about that too, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Someone can get into a position of power, literally living an entire resume life of lies. From like school and education too. They're like, we never had this guy in our life.
What was the thing with like he was like a volleyball champion or something, and he like never even went to the school that he claimed to be the
Yo, I guarantee you that's what did it.
Never even spiked the ball before. Come on now. God.
Now, you could lie about what if you want to. I don't know why I went into like a southern drawl when I'm like standard conservative politician, especially from Long Island. But like, you can lie about whatever you want to. When you start talking about volleyball, goddammit.
You telling me he didn't play no damn volleyball?
Collegiate volleyball.
Why we lie about volleyball?
This is why like I could never be a politician. I feel like
because you lie too much.
Huh?
Because you lie. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm so bad at lying. I think I'm just bad at lying. Like I'm not good. I get very nervous when I lie, and I'm not good at it. And I usually just end up confessing like immediately afterwards. So, and like I wouldn't even think to tell anybody that I was a volleyball champion when I just am not a volleyball. You know what I mean? Like that would never even cross my mind to just like for those words to come out of my mouth.
So, some intern went to him and told him, like, yeah, local demographics are telling us that volleyball is really popular in the area.
Really
He's like, oh, I'm a volleyball champion.
It's like, yeah, people really like volleyball players.
Like, what? Okay, that's great, George.
Hey, don't sleep on them volleyball players, man. I mean, like, I mean, mostly because I just don't like. I'm good at beach volleyball. Like, you know, like decent, passable.
Yeah.
At that, so like, I'm like, okay, beach volleyball, let's go. But he's apparently not even good at that. Like.
I like the volleyball in the pool.
Kind of Brazilian's not good at beach volleyball.
When you're swimming, that one's fun.
Is he Brazilian? Man, I don't know, dude.
He's supposed to be Brazilian. He's supposed to be Brazilian ally. That's what I read.
I don't believe anything he
said. Was like he's supposed to be like, was it adopted or something by a Brazilian family? I don't know what's going on, but he got something to do with Brazil, and he's tied to us somehow.
I hope you see like sometimes on Power.
Why are you zooming on my boy like this? Why are you zooming on the big Santos like this, though? Why are you zooming in on Santos like this?
Sometimes on Power Report, I find the photo that like I'm gonna use for the cover, and like baby, we hit a triple.
Like Brazil, they don't spell the name George with the G, so you're already kind of sussy to me. We spell it with the J. It's still George.
Yeah. No, they're. I'd say in most Latin American countries.
What even is this picture?
Who really
you might be wondering, right?
Man, who's taking pictures of people from the top? That's disrespectful. What is this camera shot? Is it one of those guys that sit up there with the binoculars? Was it one of them taking pictures of George down there working?
So
like he's looking directly at the camera. Oh my god!
No, this is this is sitcom shit, honestly.
He's like terrible postures. Leave my man alone. Damn. Why am I on the show defending George? What happened to me? I fell off mentally.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna get into like we're gonna say that for a future episode. All right, we'll save that in the chamber, like I said. But I'm trying to. Yeah. So there are, like I said, we've got some friendly fire here, as you see. U.S. Representative Santos says he won't resign. He's only leaving.
Just hold strong, George. Hold strong.
Just when I go out, they pull me right back in.
He's really holding the line.
Yeah, so he says he's not going to resign. He's only leaving if he's voted out in the next election. Which, hey, what do you say? He's a believer in democracy. All right, you can't say that for a lot of Republicans lately. But What I think is, so I also love that he has to clarify statements here. So as Reuters reports, George Santos said that he would vacate his seat only if he loses the next election, clarifying an earlier statement that he would resign if 142 people asked him to because of a string of false claims he made about his work and personal background.
Yeah, where did he get that number from?
142. He's been doing that Ben Shapiro math. He's been doing that Ben Shapiro
math. In some
math.
sick way, I think that's kind of cool. He said 142 people. It's such a random number to come up with. Why is that? They'll never come up with 142 people to come up against.
Wait, should we do the gematria of it? What is it? Is it the A, D, B? What is that? What is ADB? Is that a thing?
ADB?
Yeah. Isn't that what the QAnon people do? Like they assign numbers and letters?
Oh, you think he's a big QAnoner? That'd be great.
I have no idea. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
I don't know. Like, I'm
this
becoming
man
one of them. I'm like starting to think like them now. I'm like, this is what they're doing.
Now you're paranoid about if he's he could have been crafted in the.
It's just some stupid number that he like pulled out of his whatever, you know.
That's the math. That's the math Jasmine's doing how to figure out.
No,
I'm like my pen, yeah.
I'm still on this thing over. I don't know how to point on this.
That's the math we need to do to figure out if George is a QAnon or not.
All I see on this is the L, but
L 142 plus R plus.
Yeah, his initial remark about potentially bowing out came as he hurriedly exited the Capitol office.
Oh.
If 142 people ask me to resign, I will resign. He said he later clarified that if the more than 142,000 people who elected him in the November.
Wait, where did he get elected to? What area is he in?
Long Island?
Yeah, Long Island. Yeah.
Of course it's Long Island. No offense, everybody's from Long Island here.
He tricked them in defense of Long Island people. He tricked them. They were for once.
Okay,
I'll stand up for.
They don't have an esteemed reputation in Long Island. But all right, they got finessed this time. It's okay. They got scammed. They got hit with the Logan Paul crypto. It's okay. Yeah, 7 million. This man said 7 million people live in the city. And I'm in Long Island. Let me just get 142K and then I'll be out if that's the case.
I'm so. But no. I think the relevant thing to hear is House of Representatives Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, told reporters on Thursday that he would leave Santos's fate up to the Ethics Committee and voters, echoing comments he had made the previous day. So he's got the blanket. He's protected. All right, he's doing good. Which
here we go. Okay.
Well,
he has some Brazil roots.
So we'll go to the Brazil roots in a moment, but I kind of want to get your thoughts on that because I think McCarthy is making some serious decisions. I mean, he can't afford to lose like a single vote on
aren't they gutting the ethics committee?
You know, supposedly. They're also apparently the IRS that is not going to be funded anymore because the Republicans believe that all the people who
they're harassing Americans. The IRS is harassing Americans.
It's going to be an army of 85,000 IRS employees, and by IRS employees, we're including the receptionist. They're like the receptionist and like the IT guy, and they're all going to be coming for your small business PPP loans. It shows you the audience they're really appealing to. But no, to me, I want to say this. Like, to me, I think that, like, I think Kevin McCarthy is both like, A, I need all the votes I can get. B, I got so much on this. Also, Old Lady Play, see you in chat. Have a good one. But, like, Santos is like, McCarthy's like, I see so much in this. I have so much I can hold over Santos's head that, like, there's probably more stuff that the press doesn't even know yet, right? There's so much stuff that maybe McCarthy's like, oh no, I can use you. If you play your cards right, things can go well. But if you don't, then I can ruin you. Because I wonder why, like, I don't know, like, other than the fact that McCarthy's on like a razor thin edge, I would just be like, yo, let's just get rid of him, have a special election, and like get another Republican in. I'm sure that that could happen.
Well, for sure. Kevin McCarthy, funny enough, my friend, you barely got your job. Okay. You barely got in there. I don't know if the play is to, try to do some 5D chess with George Santos. I don't think that's really the play, but, it was a tough go for you to get that seat. And of course, yeah, they're gonna we'll leave it to the ethics committee that has like 3 people working there now. It's just like Twitter, I guess. They got the same amount of employees for Twitter. But I don't I think, I mean, especially Long Island, it's a big place. Like they could easily, you know, rerun something and get it going. It's like, it's almost like what they're doing is that classic, like, let's wait 2 weeks and see if anybody still cares in 2 weeks. And we'll just kind of like go from there. Yeah.
Let's hold it down a little bit.
Go, guys.
Touch and go, baby. Touch and go.
Touch and go, baby. Let's go. You know, we're good. Let's see if 2 weeks people on Island care. I think they'll move on. I don't know. You know? Which I hate, by the way. Like, that's so whack.
Isn't it like, yeah, the way to do PR is like, let's let this blow over. Let's, much like the mob, let's lie low till the heat dies down. And that's going to be our PR strategy. Like, it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah. It's like, no, you literally got elected off of, like, things that people would say something to George, like, oh, man, you know, I'm Latin. Oh, me too. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's, you know, I'm gay. I'm gay too. Like he just kept playing this game to saying I'm me too to everything. Everybody's saying, yeah, that's me as well. And then everybody's like, wait, that's why we voted for you. And then it's like that doesn't just go away, because every time he shows his face and he talks, like, why would I even believe what you're saying right now? You literally, we don't even know who you are.
Yeah, it goes back to that like, voter trust thing, Yasmin, you were talking about earlier. It's just like, I can't.
Yeah.
Really,
You know what I was thinking about, though? This is like kind of off topic, but whenever we were talking about the IRS thing and how the Republicans are like, we're going to send like armed IRS agents to your door to get you, you know, if you make under 75K or like whatever they were telling their constituents or their people. And it just reminded, it was kind of like the people who believe that was a possibility or that was going to happen. The logistics of it makes so little sense that it made me think of like kids who believe that Santa Claus can like hit every house in a single night. It's like those kind of jumps that you would have to make, right? It's like, what kind of manpower do you think we have here? You know, like how much money do you think that they're putting into all this, you know? And it's like what you were saying, like all the people who work for the IRS are not agents, you know, they're not cops. They're not going to go to people's doors. They're like accountants, you know, they're just sitting at a desk accounting for things. So it's, I don't know. That's just what I was thinking. And maybe that's mean to people who believe things like that. But I mean, just like, it doesn't make any sense logically. It makes no sense.
One of my favorite lines from Trump ever was like when he was calling that kid on Christmas and he was like, what are you, 7 now? Do you still believe in Santa Claus? Because I mean, come on, it's like you're 7. It's marginal, right? Brass tacks. That's what we love about my guy. Oh my Nothing but brass tacks from Donald Trump, man. Like
you know, his dad was like, "Oh, let's go, let's go." Trump just saved me $34. Easy money, Dub. I'm voting for him again.
It's not even Trump. Like, why am I like struggling about the $34? It's like, yeah, Trump saved me $34 from like making my kids Christmas fun. Like,
yeah, Trump who's like, I don't believe in Christmas because as coming up rich every day is Christmas. What do you mean?
Damn, bro.
That's true. There's no value in anything anymore.
There's no value. He doesn't know value of a present. What the hell?
A $34 present.
Yeah.
So like, I also want to get into the fact that like we had a brawl and like right after this.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Some other folks really want to get to the Andrew Tate stuff, so we'll do this in just a moment. But like, I want to get to the fact like we had a damn near brawl in the house because like this is gonna segue to. I am so proud of the show. I'm so proud of the work that we all did on screen and the folks off screen. We were like 2 episodes in to the 2021 like series. And we were just like, yeah, okay, so this is how politics is going to be for the next 2 years. Republicans are going to be grasping at straws for different cancel culture issues, and Democrats are going to, you know, try but begrudgingly fail to do things. Now the turns have tabled a little bit, so to speak, and you have Republicans in control of the House, but Democrats have even more power in the Senate, and Democrats still, you know, God willing, as long as Joe Biden's heart's still working, have control of the presidency. And even though you have the looming Republican judiciary, which is going to continue to be a problem that it factors out of most of my analysis here, what you're going to get, at least my prediction, I want to get your thoughts from the next 2 years of Republican politics, is more of this. It's going to be chaos, especially because, like, look, never mind that it took 15 tries for Kevin McCarthy to get speaker. when they were putting up like Jim Jordan got nominated to be speaker, Donald Trump got nominated to be speaker, which I was so like, it's like LFG, dude. Like absolutely, like I
was
am
a great
so
time.
good.
I was like, hold the line, Maggie. Hold it.
Good. Yeah, like people love. I'm like let them fight. Like that's a whole my thing. But like when you have Republicans like this who are each vying for like, listen, half of them want like. A fourth of them want jobs after this outside of politics. A fourth of them want podcasts or have podcasts outside of this. A fourth of them just want to gain more power in Congress and the Senate. And then the other fourth are going to be running for president as far as like other Republicans go. Like I can divide them in like those four sort of caucuses, right? Like, and all of them have interests that are against each other because they're going to be performing to different, disparate parts of the Republican Party. And so because of that, with the very thin margins that you have, okay, Republicans are going to maybe team up on something like defunding the IRS or attempting to do that. And it's going to get kicked down by the Democrats, not get signed by Joe Biden. And the Democrats in the Senate are going to kick down, Cool, that's fine. What's most likely going to happen is that the Republicans are going to punch each other and trip each other and fall over each other. And like they're going to be talking about dumb things while they have no policies to even argue over that much. It's going to be, cut this, defund this. Oh no, actually let's appeal to, or let's do more anti-trans stuff, even though that lost us in the election. They're just spinning out of control. Meanwhile, the Democrats are unfortunately not doing enough for the American people and like need to continue to like actually, prove themselves out because 2024 will not be a cakewalk for them, nor will 2026 midterms be. But all the Democrats kind of have to do is be like, you see these people? Look at this. And I think that's how the next 2 years are going to go. And like my kind of like usual trademark long-winded diatribe. Some things change, some things don't about power board. But like, I think this next 2 years is just going to be nothing but chaos for the Republican Party. And it's going to be all stuff that is stuff that they are doing. That's their fault. And because of that, listen, the Democratic primary is still a question mark because I think that can get chaotic too. But because of that, the Republicans are going to they're going to have to fight the fact that they appear as a party like the clown show that they really are. Anyone's thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it worked out for the Democrats because the Democrats have a very Democratic Party at least have a very lazy approach to being able to take advantage of Republican like mishaps. They're just kind of like, yeah, no, we're nice. See, like they're bad, but like when the girls are fighting like this, that's a good time to do it. Like, oh yeah, because before it was like, what can we do to really counteract some of the movement that's going on? You don't really got to do much right now because you can tell that the Republicans don't just have to deal with the Democrats. They have to also deal with their own people that they were like, oh, let's feed the flames of some of these real special individuals that are within our party and have some insane rhetoric. Let's just give them money, power, firepower. They got a lot of money, power, firepower, and now they're doing their own thing. And they're 6 of them are like, nah, we're not going to vote for McCarthy. And they're like, wait, what? Wait a minute. well, wait. I thought we had a thing going here. They're like, yeah, we did until it didn't. So now they're facing the repercussions of this. And by the way, this wig is 100% perfect. This is a perfect wig right here. Look at the stature of this wig right here. While he's getting face mugged, it's incredible.
My favorite's the guy with the beard who's just
that beard is incredible. I wish I had a beard like this.
Ted Cruz wishes too.
Two-tone. Oh my god.
That is very impressive.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
It's an A1 beard. But no, like it literally it was like watching a clown show from the voting to the pushing to the people yelling. And when it's like the best visuals, the cameraman panning to like Matt Gaetz and Lauren Berber just sitting there like in a chair and knowing they're the ones that didn't vote. It was comedy. It was like, this is great. Like, and it only shows like, of course it's funny, but like, it only shows like it gives like the classic meme I think of is like, this is your king, like this is the people you voted for, like this is what you thought was the way to fix things. And yeah, they looked like absolute clowns getting McCarthy, and that was ridiculous.
My God, it's. I mean, the whole thing is silly. Like everything that's going on. Like I can't believe this is like Congress. This picture that we've been staring at for however long. It's kind of a nightmare. And it's true. The Republicans for a long time haven't really had much of a platform. And going into the midterms, what was it? McConnell even said, we're not going to have a platform, right? All they're going to do is obstruct whatever the Democrats' platform is. Whatever the Democrats try to get done, the Republicans will stop it from happening, right? And that's their whole thing. And with Trump, from the moment that he announced that he was running, he had no solutions to anything, right? He had no solutions to anything. And his people, his followers, they just said, that's fine. You know, he has zero plan. All he says is, you know, we're going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. How are you going to get that done? He had no explanation at all whatsoever. And it's insane to me that he was elected with no plan for anything. I feel like Democratic voters at least ask questions. That's why Elizabeth Warren felt like she had to have like binders full of plans, you know, like that was her thing, right? She was prepared, right? However you felt about her plans is one thing, but at least she did the work, you know, she put in some work, she put something together and she tried to present it to the people, right? Donald Trump never did any of that. But his followers never asked him to either, which is like insane to me. How do you vote for a guy and you have no idea how he plans on doing the things that he's doing? It's equivalent to like somebody running for their high school student council and they're like, we're going to have pizza every Thursday. And it's like, how are you going to get that done? It's like, I'm going to go talk to people and
we're going to sign petitions.
Yeah.
We're start paying taxes.
Anything but the taxes.
I'm taxes at the high schools. You know, just however people get pizza.
Yeah.
You know. So that's what it felt like. And not that I want to equate Trump voters to high school students, but that feels mean to like high school students also. You know,
you're on a tear today. You're dunking on Santa believers. Just keep it going. Keep attacking the people. We're like ready.
On so many, and I don't mean to. Like, I really don't mean to. But it's like, how I just don't understand how you vote for somebody who has no idea what they're doing and hasn't even like pretended to have an idea, right? And I don't understand, like, of all the people that the Republicans had to choose from, everybody who was running for president that year, Trump was obviously the least informed, the least prepared, the least fit for that office. And that's the one that they chose and they elected him. And they're like, it's good that he knows nothing. Like somehow they swung that as a good thing. They said, it's good that he knows nothing. He's fresh. And it's like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, you need somebody who knows how to do a job in that position, especially when it's like the biggest job in the entire world, you know? I don't get it.
Yeah, let me give. Well, I know the ad's running on Twitch, so I'll wait a little bit because I want to give more of the chat some love. But God, I don't even want to pay attention to this. I'm just going through my screens and stuff right now because I am having fun with the nested things in OBS.
Nested is the way to go.
This is fun. Yeah, it's just so much easier to control this. I mean, it's harder, but it's easier.
But it's less chaotic though.
Yes and no, for sure. Definitely having the graphics package helps, but yeah, I can't wait till like the globe is moving and spinning around. That's gonna be very entertaining for people.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. But
CPU.
I'm only at 20%. What's the worst that can happen?
20% for what?
My computer is at 20% of its like power usage. Like running the stream and doing all that stuff. I'm impressed, honestly. I'm like, only 20? Let's go. Those are rookie numbers. Let's pump up those numbers.
Yeah. We haven't seen a Caesar stream. I'm pumping at 94%, baby.
Well, that's because I'm not running it on my laptop. That's a whole different thing.
This is true.
By the way, Apple's about to make touchscreen computers. Your boy finally going Macintosh, baby. I might finally get a Mac.
Oh, the touchscreen.
Yeah. If they, yeah. But
I don't like a touchscreen computer.
Neither.
I don't like it. I have like an iMac and my MacBook, and I like those to not. I don't want fingerprints all over my screens, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Say that
I
for
don't
the
like that.
iPad.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dan.
not to be that guy.
I get
but
the appeal, I guess. But
Okay, here you go.
I-
Here you go.
I don't know if you've ever been in one of those cars with a touchscreen, but yeah, it gets very annoying when you
it is.
get all the smudges on the
And
thing.
also, especially when you're driving, it's weird not having something tactile there to feel what you're pressing. Because it's like you have to be more precise and you're moving. And it's like, this feels dangerous while I'm driving.
That's
Like,
what annoyed me about the Tesla iPad they made was like
yeah.
it felt really annoying to have to control so many things with just a touchscreen. It was like this is like what if it's like raining? Like what this is
Yeah, it feels
ridiculous. What if it's
dangerous.
cold? You know, like the touchscreen things like work terribly when it's cold.
Yeah, it's not the most reliable.
No.
I'm gonna tease this for like my Dan from the internet thing, so I don't want to say exactly what's happening. But let's just say, yeah, for the folks here, you get a little bit of teaser. I interviewed Tesla owners for my documentary. Longtime Tesla
fun.
owners, different people
Ooh.
about like their experience, what they're talking about, and a lot of unhappy folks. Let's say I wasn't even trying to be that guy. I was like, I was trying to be very nice, like very chill, and they were like dishing, and I was like, okay, this is what documentaries are made for, man. Let me get to some of the chats really quickly. Nisa Beans had a really fun one. This is why I wanted to save it for when we weren't running the ad. George is like that loser in my junior high that didn't get off the bus for skip day, but went to school and named names and thought he was cool for doing so. Oh my god.
Yeah. The guy that thought he was really dope for going to school the day they were all walking out.
King
Like,
Snake.
yeah, well, I saw these people walking out. Like, oh wow, you're so sick.
Yeah.
What a hilarious analogy.
That's a great one.
This is so
Oddly specific.
this is so weird. These reasons also like I'm a regular person. I've been audited for nearly 2 years over a couple $100 by the IRS. I'm like, God, please no. Like, God, I don't want that. And that's the whole thing is that like the IRS has over the past 20 years been defunded to the point where it only makes sense for them to go after regular everyday people because they don't have the resources to go after the types of crimes, the types of hiding that rich people get up to. So it's a lot more complicated and stressful like that. So yeah, that stuff really also scares me because my taxes situation gets like more complicated by the year, and I'm not cheating, but like I just don't want to get audited. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time.
It's so stupid how we're like the way that we do taxes. Like, don't get me started. Like, that's a whole conversation. But
we'll do an episode around tax day because like we'll definitely it'll be.
That'd be good actually. That'd probably be pretty cool.
taxes.
Yeah.
Because like there's a whole Dan does his taxes live. We get like 2 streams and like Twitch like takes away my affiliate. It's like, yo, dog, this is not the sauce.
Can
I
you
remember one
write off
time
a
I was
stream
like
about
drinking
taxes?
with like my boyfriend's very conservative family, and we started talking, and like somebody brought up taxes, and I was like, I don't want to talk about taxes right now. And I was just like kind of I had like a mini drunk rant with these very conservative Texan people about taxes, and I was just like, never. You know what? At the end of it, I was like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
You
I
go
just
on a
shut
rant.
the
You're like, I don't want to talk
conversation
about it.
Like you're the more like liberal, quote unquote, Texan, and you're the one going off on taxes, and you have to stop yourself. You're like, hold on.
Yeah, what?
I'm probably offending these like right wingers with my like radical tax.
Saying or like what my point was, but it was just like I kind of shut it down before any of them could respond to me, and they were all just like, okay.
Last comments. Bad Lefty says Santos built the wall already, and Adam Rich says Italy will pay for it.
Yeah, make the Italians pay for it, please.
They've had it too good for too long.
Italy's just like we're over here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to get to the main event of tonight, which is one of the most annoying things ever. But like, unfortunately, this guy, like, I keep encountering like regular culture, and people keep like finding out about him and talking about him. So like, one must like get into it. But Andrew Tate, what a piece of shit. So, Andrew Tate is
that what his head looks like? Like that's his hair.
He hasn't
just
been able to
hasn't
shave
shaved
in
his head in a
prison.
while.
I don't think he's.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to shave in prison.
They don't give you raises. Oh, well. I would have thought
Not in Romania.
not in Romanian prison. You can.
Well, at least it's like a clean hairline, you know.
I'm surprised in Romanian prison you can't get a cell phone, because like in American prison, like people be tweeting from prison, people be running TikToks from jail, like
Yeah, they get on IG Live. Those are the best ones.
Oh God,
they open.
that sounds like fun. I've never seen one of those.
Oh,
No, there's some extremely wild. I'm not gonna mention it during the subject matter of this conversation, like IG lives that come from jail. But yeah, it's pretty bad.
Just do the little one where there's that popular comedian Drewski where he does like a fake a record show where he has people audition to be signed to his fake label, and all the time people in prison in jail call into the IG live show and request to be on there. It's like 10 people in there in jail. I'm like, how the hell are they doing this, man? It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's unfortunately get this over with. So Andrew Tate, Vice News has gotten basically audio and a lot of evidence of. God, I really have to hold my tongue here for certain legal reasons. They've gotten a lot of evidence of him basically admitting to some of the most heinous acts he has done in a context. And I say hold my tongue because I'm familiar of situations in which you know, in the public context of like people like literally sending out text messages and like leaving a lot of crumbs and evidence, let's say, about their like most heinous behavior and actions. But this is pretty terrible. Basically, Andrew Tate has Vice News got voice messages that Andrew Tate allegedly recorded, describing basically the end of a relationship, apparently a falling out of, like, if you can call this a relationship. And he's going into details about like what was going on and what he was feeling during that. And it sucks. Content warning. It's kind of terrible. But let's play it here just to get on the same page. Wait, hold on. I have Twitter muted usually. Oh no, not muted. Let me make sure this is the right. Love when that's happening. There we go. It just wasn't coming out of the speaker. Okay.
Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I fucking loved how much you hated it. Turned me on. Why am I like that? Why? I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet. Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you were to get fucked by me. Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like, or would you rather fuck? You didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to. That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this fucking planet. Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't fucking pass out. Chill the fuck out. Jesus Christ. I thought you were cool. What's wrong with you?
And like, yeah, that's and in the beginning he's like, am I a bad person? Because he's like describing, like saying, I fucking love how much you hated it, turned me on, describing obviously like sexual assault with this person. And yeah, he's trying to be like,
yes, it does make you a bad person.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Shocker,
yeah.
I know.
Yes. We put it to a poll. Viewers in Romania and elsewhere were able to vote on it, and we found out that, like, yes, this does make you a piece of shit. So,
shocking.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've had, like, you know, a lot of. I mean, I think it's not this is even like the theme of the year, but I mean, this year is what 11 days into it, and we've gotten a thing about Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty. We've gotten a thing about Andrew Callahan of Channel 5 and All Gas No Breaks. Like, we're getting like this other wave, I guess, of it coming to light a lot of the just like completely messed up things that men have done, not understanding the boundaries around consent and just like completely messing this up. And it's like, on the one hand, it's like, how many times do you have to teach this lesson? But apparently a lot, because as we'll talk about in a moment, Andrew Tate unfortunately is a huge influence on, like, I'll call them kids, but these are, teenagers who,
but even like young teenagers, like 13 years old. Too.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
adults too.
Adults too. And like, the adults is one thing, but like, even teenagers have a responsibility, and adults, of course, have the responsibility to impart this knowledge on the teenagers, but we have a responsibility to, make sure that teenagers know about the boundaries of consent, and then teenagers have a responsibility to abide by that. This is the same thing as, like, we teach 5-year-old kids, like, hey, you can't punch other kids, right? Like, you just have to understand, like, boundaries and things like that, of course, in a kid-appropriate, friendly way. But, yeah, you have 13-year-olds who are starting to get, like, brainwashed by this stuff, and content can only go so far, and, like, getting people out of these spaces, it is culture. It is that Andrew Tate is not just like the person who is coming up with these ideas. It's that Andrew Tate is ultimately a reflection, much like Donald Trump and his behavior, are a reflection of what is allowed.
Yeah. I was talking about this with somebody the other day, and you have to wonder, like, I like to think that a lot of kids, depending on a lot of factors, like their parents, how they were raised, their teachers, their friends, things like that, if you were exposed to somebody like Andrew Tate, I have to believe that certain factors about the way you were raised can impact the way that you would receive that kind of information, that a good parent, a good father figure, a good teacher, a good adult in your life, or somebody that you look up to and respect, even if it's an older sibling, could have an impact on that somebody like Andrew Tate can't just walk in and kind of hijack your youth, your goodness, your innocence, like all these things, right? Whether you're even for older people, right? There has to be some kind of counter to something like this, that some guy like Andrew Tate can't just get on Twitch, can't just get on YouTube, can't just get on wherever he is and just hijack all these people and their ways of thinking and their value system and their morality, really, because that's what it comes down to. This is a terrible person, right? Even if it's fake, like, let's assume that it's fake. Let's assume that he's doing all this for clicks, for views, for ad revenue, whatever. It's like, even if that is your persona that you choose to take on for money, you're still a shitty person. You're still the worst person that I can think of right now, and that's saying something, because there's a lot of really terrible people out there, but he's up there, and that recording is so, if you look on Twitter, a lot of the comments under the thread for that clip that we heard, the audio clip, a lot of people are like, oh, it sounds weird. That's not really his voice. His accent is wrong. His accent is stupid, first of all, and it's fake. And so it's like kind of like hard to replicate in that sense, right? And then on top of that, they're saying like, oh, the video was kind of disjointed because it's like a series of audio clips. So there's still people who are defending him and still trying to make it seem like he's somehow the victim in all of this, He really is the smartest person on the fucking planet. Can I say so? He really is the smartest person on the planet, right? He really is the best person out there, and every woman wishes that she was that girl that he was addressing in that audio clip. It's just not the case, right? But how do you unteach that to people, to young children, to teenagers even, right? How do you teach them, no, not every woman wants that guy. Not every woman respects that guy. Not every woman looks up to that guy. And you shouldn't either as a man, or as a, whatever. It shouldn't, I don't know. I have to believe that there's a counter to all that is all I'm trying to say.
Have to hope, right?
You have to hope, it's really sad how quickly people can kind of go off on and people like that, kind of get absorbed into these internet communities, right? It's very easy to get absorbed into an internet community if you just kind of like watch enough YouTube videos that are all saying the same thing, then you do start to kind of believe it, or you at least start to understand where those people are coming from, right? And once you start to understand it, then it kind of becomes a little bit more rationalized for you. And I talk about like there's been a few articles written about the kind of the pipeline from wellness, like people who are really into health and wellness, and how you end up in QAnon, right? And that, it seems kind of like a stretch to get from one place to another. But if you look at the YouTube comments on these health and wellness videos, right, and all these people who are genuinely trying to live healthier, better lives for themselves, that's physically and mentally and spiritually, right? So people who are genuinely trying to do good things for themselves, after a while, and not a long while really, you can kind of get obsessive about it, right? So if you take like the vegan community, for example, these people become a vegan because they want better health for themselves, or they want better animal welfare, or they believe in it'll help the climate and it'll help the planet. So all the reasons that people have for going vegan are all admirable, respectable reasons, right? But then as soon as you get into the community, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're eating eggs still, And it's like, okay, everyone's somewhere on their journey. Let's not discourage them from wanting to be a part of this. Maybe encourage them. If you want, like, if that's your thing, you can educate them, especially if they're here. They're willing to be educated, right? They're interested in being educated. Why would you not work to bring those people in, right? Those are your fence sitters, and you can bring them to your side of the fence, right? But instead they would demonize it, right? And then on top of that, it's like, okay, now we're cutting out eggs, but now we also need to cut out fat, or we need to cut out carbs, or we need to cut out sugar. And then they become obsessive about it. And then very quickly that becomes, I don't want a vaccine because I don't know what that is. I don't want to put foreign objects into my body. And then from there, you get the gist.
I wanted to go on a tangent really fast about a dating experience I had with a vegan, but I decided to restrain myself and instead go into maybe that's fun and we'll get to it in a moment if you remind me of it again. But like
maybe
that's sort of the thing though, is one thing I've been thinking about this is sort of the next step of this conversation, because I remember the Me Too movement, and, a lot of people don't. We talked about in an iteration of Power Report how, like, there was the whole Tara Reid situation where you had, like, fairly credible accusations against Biden. Like, a lot of that, like, there was investigated, and there were, like, people who were on both sides saying, like, oh, it makes sense, oh, it doesn't make sense, she's changing her story, whatever. But, like, even when it was just coming out, before you had a lot of information about that, you had a lot of the same sort of, like, believe women side of the Democratic Party who was like, oh, F this slut, essentially. Like they had just turned around and said, like, they had completely turned around on that context. And so, let alone the leadership of the Democratic Party, but I think, like, a lot of people didn't take a lot of the lessons from the Me Too movement, like, too hard, and definitely not to action. And so, when you get these stories coming up again, I think of, like, as a commentator, what was happening then and what were people saying then? And what can be established now or done differently so that, it's hard to eliminate these things completely in society, but, maybe we get to that place where more people are, like, aware of these sort of boundaries. And I think one thing is the whole, like, not all men, yes, all men kind of conversation, because, like, to your point of the discourse around, okay, I'm a vegan or, like, I'm a vegetarian and I'm, like, trying to get there, but, oh, you're disgusted by still eating eggs or still consuming cheese. Like, you're not all the way there. I think, like, yeah, while there is, like, I will never be the kind of person to, like, try to make, like, a really big, oh, I love that there's, like, a spam bot now at the perfect time. But, like, I'll never try to make, like, a really big point about, some woman saying, like, on Twitter, like, all men are terrible, like, you can't trust any men. Like, I kind of, like, understand that point, because, like, there's so many people that people idolize, like, celebrity wise in that culture that they really want to say, oh, we finally found a good guy, or oh, we finally found a respectable guy. JK, they have this past, or JK, they have this history. Like, I'm not going to say, okay, like, no, it's not all men, or you have it wrong, because it is so many men. It's too many men that it's such a problem, right? But I think you also have to have this discourse around, like, okay, there's a reason why, unfortunately, Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson or whatever, they have this audience and they constantly think that, okay, appealing to men who feel robbed of society, who like feel lost in culture, is going to be my bag. Because like there's something there to appeal to. And I think that, you know, the conversation is, how does the left appeal towards men and try to turn them into a lighter way, to like try to build better habits out of them? And part of it's like by behavior and emulating behavior, but also it's by saying it's too many men it's so many men where this keeps happening that we need to have a conversation where we all like get on the same page about what does consent look like? What are these boundaries? Like, how should you be behaving? What is this stuff that's like, okay, we probably shouldn't be idolizing this guy who brags about like having a bunch of women work against their will working for him. Like, it's this kind of stuff that's unlearning that I think part of it comes in the discourse that is, while not watering down what like activists are saying and what they've been pushing, it's also appealing and saying, okay, here's the path forward. Here's how we say, okay, here's how we create like the better man that people can look up to that unfortunately don't fall into these like terrible behaviors. I think that's hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that, like, you know, when you're watching something where, you know, there's this recording of a man who's a prominent figure in the whole manosphere space and spews a lot of disgusting rhetoric around like what it means to be a man and treating women as property, and then here's this like instance where there was sexual abuse involved, you know, rape or whatever the allegations are. I think that it's really kind of crazy to me that the comment section can be filled with, you know, a bunch of these like, part of the same for dick rider males that are in there like, oh, well, this is a tape from, you know, the girl that consented to BDSM. It's like, let me tell you something right now, my friend. You weren't there. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't care who you are. They literally have an investigation on this. So what makes you think you know more than what they know? So it's just really crazy to me how people just they're just willing to follow people like this to the end. When I hear a tip like that, I'm disgusted. It's putrid to hear someone, you know, talk to another individual, whether it be a male or female or anybody, in the capacity to talk to them that way. It's not the way to talk to somebody. And especially being like, oh, why are you acting like this now? I thought you were cool. Like, what? Yeah,
that's just like narcissistic abuse language.
Someone expresses like, whether it's consent then or retracted consent for something they feel later, the approach of saying like, oh, you don't consent to anymore, I thought you were cool, is disgusting. Like, never, for anybody that's maybe a young male watching this, or even a young female, anybody, however you identify and you're watching this and you're having this kind of this discussion comes about, never take when someone else is explaining to you or eliciting the kind of consent they have for something, and never say like, I thought you were cool back to them. That's not how you talk to someone ever. No matter what the capacity is, whether it's in this space or a different space, that's not how you treat people. And you know, there's a lot of these you know, men and young males that really subscribe to the belief system that this multi pyramid scheming, multi-marketing schemer Andrew Tate pushes through his, you know, doing referral codes to get people to push some of his videos online and all this other stuff, just to him, you know, spew this disgusting hate. They follow this belief system, but you don't need to have idols like this. Like, this guy talks about being top G and, you know, being this man and being handsome and good looking, and he spends one day without a shaver at the crib, and he's no better than you are. Like, he's another regular dude. He's not special. He's a regular horrible person. He's just a regular horrible person. He's not even. He talks about being a owning all these casinos. He's literally just running money laundering for Romanian mafia members. Like, he's not cool. He's just, anybody could have been in that seat, but he chose to be a horrible person in that space. And when you choose to be a bad person, you do bad things to people. Things happen. You don't just get to ride off in the sunset, homie. Like, so you know, he even has videos. This man is the king of outing himself. He had videos talking about like, put me in a Romanian cell, put me in a Romanian jail. I'll walk in there, give everybody money. I give everybody money. That's not looking like the case.
Don't say that, man. Don't say that, dude. Like, just
that's not looking like the case, is it now, buddy?
Yeah,
I mean, he's like whenever I see him, like it's not anything big for me to say that he looks like a narcissist, right? Like every person who has had to deal with a narcissist, especially like in a close personal relationship, can identify that shit as soon as you see it. As soon as you see it, you're like, I know what that is, you know, and it's not attractive. Like nothing about that man has ever been attractive to me. Even physically, like he's not my type, right? But as a human being, he's very unattractive. That machismo or like whatever, that overconfidence, that arrogance, that ego, it's not as attractive as these men seem to think it is to women, right? The women that they are trying to attract are not attracted to that, right? Like one of my Hollywood crushes that everyone makes fun of me for is Conan, right? Because he's so weird looking, you know, but he's like, I just want to hang out with him. He seems like fun, you know. That's what it's like. It's such a cliche that girls like funny guys because they're nice and they seem like fun, and it's not about what you look like necessarily, right? It's just different. And he's clearly not even trying to appeal to me though, right? I'm not his target audience. He's not trying to attract me in that sense, right? He's trying to attract his target audience, which is, you know, these very impressionable young men or older men even, you know.
I wish it was a case where he's showing you, outlining the way of like what the kids say, like having Riz or like being able to talk to somebody.
What
or
is
being
that?
able
I've
to,
never even heard that.
Riz is like, it's like the new Zoomer term for like having game or like being able to talk to girls, and
it's like charisma, and it's like it's a little British. It's a little bit British. I'll say that.
So
not to apologize.
He's not even doing that. He's literally like he's been on streams literally hitting on like someone that's like a minor. So like his objective is like, oh, like I mean, think about it. That's how he runs his whole business. He runs a business that uses dominance, manipulation, and lies to subjugate people to bending to his will. That's not getting someone to like you. That's forcing someone to be with you. And that if that's the kind of outlook you're trying to have in life, then you got a whole other litany of issues that like that needs to be addressed, and maybe you need to be under the same jail he's in. But like, yeah, I wish that his narrative was to be like the goofy guys on YouTube that are like the pickup artist guys, you know, those losers. He's not even that. He's like literally pushing something that's horribly on the other side, which is like literally extorting women to come over, you know, making them his girlfriend and saying that, oh, they're my girlfriend, so I own everything they have, and like
it's definitely the most morbid version of like, oh, my girlfriend goes to another school. It's a very it's
yeah, he's even saying, he's like, oh, I'm Muslim now, so I have 4 wives. Like, what? Okay, well, good for you. Alhamdulillah, you're Muslim, okay, bro.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. Like, alhamdulillah, good for you, but like, stop it. You're literally just capping, and it's not going to work here. The lawyer was like, oh, well, you know, he has to go home to his 10 kids. I'm like, what? Get out of here, dude.
What in the Nick Cannon?
Shut up.
Yeah, he lives at home with all of his 10 kids.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, and there's a reason why they target young women and young men in these things, right? Because they know that older people are less susceptible to these things. That's why the pickup artists, like their target audience or their targets as pickup artists were always like, I don't know how to say this nicely, but just like not as smart people, you know? People who are maybe, let's say, less experienced.
Let me say it that nicely.
The realm of dating.
Yeah, maybe. Like less experienced, but also people who like, and this is the sort of thing, like there's, I mean, like, you know, friend or foe, like sometimes. Like there's a guy named Scott Galloway who is like a king capitalist, right? But like, I'd say it's like a broken clock is right 5 times a day kind of person, where like, he comes from business and he tends to take like the very centrist, almost like right-leaning centrist kind of position on things, but I think he's been on like the most tasteful sort of like pro-men crusade of like any creator like possibly can be, of like any like male, of just like listen, like there are these statistics about like men have fewer friends than women do. Like just statistically, right? Like men report having fewer deep conversations with their friends than women do. Like there's something to be said about like the mental state of men overall. Like there's some things like you could read into, like men are getting into less relationships. They're like people overall are having less like sexual intercourse with each other. Like there's different things in society that like I want to take the next step and be like, because capitalism, because like we're all stressed as hell, because we're all busy, like because there are these like exterior things that make us all stressed, and like I can't think about like myself or these other things, right? Like, but I think that, and getting towards this, okay, how does the left approach these things better? It's by saying, yeah, I think men and women, but sure, let's focus on men, since like all these Andrew Tate types are too. I think men do have it pretty difficult in the society in ways that are, yeah, you know, not as difficult as they think it is oftentimes, because this is still a patriarchal society. And of course, not as difficult as it could be historically speaking, but this is a new time. There are new challenges. And so there should be people who are speaking to that, because if not, then you'll end up with like people falling down the Andrew Tate rabbit hole, unfortunately. Like you just need to, there should be content there. Like it doesn't mean just like having good role models or like figures who appear masculine, but it's like, how do we talk to people who are like, who is that? How do we talk to that guy who is on WikiHow? Like, how do I ask someone out to a date? I
you know,
yeah.
Well, it's so like, this is gonna be so hippie of me, but it's like these, like they just need love in their lives, you know, like they just need more love in their life. And it is like a lot of my guy friends that I know, like it is, they do have fewer close relationships with other guys, right? And I guess that's kind of the nature of it. Like my boyfriend, him and his best friend, they just play video games, and that's like how they bond, like with a headset on or whatever, you know. And that's like him and his friend, and I'll be like, oh, how is your friend? He's like, I don't know, he seems fine. And I was like, well, he, you know, and he, like this guy just moved, he has a new girlfriend, like a lot of life changes, right? And I'm like, oh, how's this going? And how's that going? He's like, I don't know. We were just like playing a game, you know? But somehow that seems fulfilling, and somehow that's love, you know? And like he has, you know, he has some companionship, right? In that sense. And at the end of the day, that relationship, I know if he needs grounding, if you really need someone to talk to about someone, I know he can go to his friend and he can have that conversation. And I know that his friend will be there for him, right? I don't know how many people have those kind of relationships, because they are very hard to maintain, you know, men and women, right? And as you get older, especially, your friend group gets smaller and smaller, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's those relationships that you do have become all the more important, and you kind of do have to work on them, right? Like if I just kind of let my best friend go because I just couldn't deal with her bullshit anymore, like, you know, like something stupid, it would feel like a breakup for me, like a major breakup, you know. It'd be like losing a family member or something like that. And I don't know how many people have those kind of relationships in their lives anymore. I hope people do, because I think it, like, that is what keeps you sane, is just having love in your life. Yeah, I am kind of a hippie a little bit, you know.
I mean, but no, I think you're right. I mean, like I'm blessed. Like thankfully I am blessed right now to like have one of those situations where like how I think like how it looks on camera is how it is off camera, at least like right now with like C's and I, like when we're not, like we talk a lot in our group chat and we're like going with like how we're doing and stuff a little bit, but like a lot of times we're just like laughing. It's a good thing. And like there's some days where like pretty much the only thing I'm laughing at or smiling at is like some dumb shit in WhatsApp that we're talking about. So like I'm thankful to have that, especially as like in my adulthood where like I've been like pretty good about like what friends I have and what friends I don't, and like I have that. But yeah, if you're out there, like parasocial relationships are good, and I love like shouting out people who I can. Speaking to chat, good night, Adam Rich. Thank you for joining in chat. Happy New Year. Good to see you. But like, yeah, talk to friends, talk to people in real life, chat with your neighbors, honestly, because that's again, that's a great thing. We're like, let's get a little bit political, but let's also like, before you even get political, honestly, you have to build that foundation of friendship or relationship anyway. So, do that as well.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I think just like the nature of social media and things like that, like people really have just forgotten how to interact with each other and how to maintain and build relationships. And especially in real life, like people have anxiety about face-to-face conversations now because everything is so digitized these days. And of course, the pandemic didn't help with any of that, you know? So it's like literally we've been locked up for like 2 or 3 years. And it's like, I don't remember what it's like out there, you know? Like out there is like a whole different world. And it is scary, you know? And people in those couple of years, they got a little weird. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different world.
I want to take a little bit of a break, and it's totally fine if y'all want to too. But in the meantime, I have that video to play in the background of Ben Shapiro explaining his equation. And I felt like that would be a fun. It's 2 minutes, so it's should be a good break time. And B, I almost didn't want to talk about it, but it's just like it's funny enough to like we were talking about it in the beginning anyways, and like it's worth breaking down into like its own little conversation about like the way he thinks about politics, like sort of the things he's accepted as a given. But let's do that. Without further ado, here is Ben Shapiro with his new math equation that for some reason he thinks that his audience of, this is 2023, I'm going to try to be nicer, incredibly ambitious people will actually interpret it and understand it. So yeah, here's Ben Shapiro doing his best to be a man of the people.
Ambitious.
L equals, and the numerator is S plus, and then it's R times A plus I. Okay, so S in this particular equation represents social solidarity. So if you have an area that has a lot of social solidarity, that's going to help the government. Because obviously social solidarity means you're all going to vote in ways that you're not going to offend your neighbor because you like your neighbor and you're not there to use the government to crack down on your neighbor. Plus, responsiveness of the authority to input, that's R, times the avoidability of the authority. So if you know that the government is both responsive to you and also if you're unable to get a response from the government, you're able to avoid the government, right? You can move out of the area. And this also contributes to the legitimacy of the government. I don't have to, if I'm in California and I don't like California, I can leave. That means that the government has a high level of legitimacy. One of the reasons being, even though I disagree with the way that California is governed, I can always take off, which means the people who are left there are consenting to being there. Plus I, which is the ability of any authority to advance the interests of its population. So in other words, if government has the following aspects, it is going to have a lot of legitimacy at any level. This, by the way, doesn't just apply to governments. It actually applies to families as well. If there's a lot of social solidarity within the area governed by the government, if that government is responsive to input from people, if you can avoid the government, if the government doesn't rule the way you want to, you can leave. And if the government is very effective at implementing the needs and wants of its citizens, it's going to have a high level of consent. Okay, the denominator, these are the things the government can do to undermine its own authority, essentially. V is violation of fundamental or pragmatic rights by the authority or destruction of rules and roles by the authority. So the government decides it's going to wipe away civil society. It's going to wipe away your rights. It is now jacked up the levels of control it is using against you. It undermines the legitimacy of the government. R, right? This is R prime. It's the regulatory strictness of the authority. So the authority passes very, very strong regulations to move against you. This undermines the legitimacy of the government unless you've consented at a very high level to that government. And finally, the aggressiveness of the enforcement by the authority.
What? I was listening to that like on my trip. I was like, what?
I was listening and then I realized that like I just wasn't listening at some point. I just wasn't listening anymore. I was like,
yeah, honestly, sorry audience. I don't know why I thought that was a good video to play on like the back end. Like probably lost some viewers on that and I probably deserve it. But like first of all, my favorite thing to point out here is because like I'm not good at math, but like if you're at the point where you're like putting parentheses inside of parentheses, you can go ahead and stop using the letter X for multiplication because that makes things way worse. Like when I'm third grade anymore.
Yeah, you're not supposed to use that.
Like, we're into like multivariable calculus, and we're like in pre-calc and stuff. You no longer need to use the X for multiplication.
You don't need the X.
We're big boys now.
It's not necessary.
But
thinking that your audience sees this and goes, "Oh," is just so narcissistic and just, dude. I think even his own people were like, mute.
Yeah.
I'll be back. I'll be back when he's done with his little segment.
Even the engineers are like, damn, slow news day.
Yikes! You make your equations for this? Rough.
Yeah, but like part of it, he's like, okay, well, there's like a freedom quotient he's talking about. There's like, okay, well, if like I can leave California, then it's fine, or like if I'm subject to their laws. But it's just you can make an equation about like anything. Is sort
what
of
is like regulation times aggression? Like, what is that, squared, or what is that even?
I don't know if it's meant to be like prime because it's a comma. Like
okay.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not a political commentator at night because I'm great at math. Like to the extent that I'm good at math in my day job, it's because of Microsoft Excel. And so like I am not exactly in for this, but yeah, A, it's slow news day. B, it just goes to say that like this is going to be a lot of like Ben Shapiro and a lot of these right wingers for the next couple years. It's like they're not going to have like much to talk about overall. But the kind of the thing I get out of it is that like there's some people who truly believe that like the government is like a nuisance you want to like get out of, versus like no, the government can actually do good things for people. It's just that the Republican Party has no interest in doing that, and the Democratic Party's interests, the like rich people who run a lot of the party, also are not going to do that. And so there's the annoying thing is that like there's the world happening. And like everyone has their own different analysis to it, and it's like usually wrong. Like everyone's analysis is so wrong, which like gives the justification for us to do this. But it like you can just like take a framework and just convince yourself that framework is totally true, and then from there just like you're off the races. You're like you're making these like dumbass equations, and you're going like, yeah, duh, this is facts and logic, baby, facts and logic, right here, all this stuff right here, just exactly makes sense. Woo, man. I don't know. That's a special kind of brain. I just know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it.
He's did he put that together himself also? Do you think he came up with that all on his own?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. And the producer's like, we don't have to show. He's like, no, we do. We have to show it. It's really important for production.
He's like, no, this is good stuff.
I own everything here. Why would you tell me I can't put it? That's ridiculous.
The producer was trying to walk him down. Like, yeah. This is like
how does one quantify things like aggression? I don't know. I don't understand how. Like, what is the point of it? How is this applicable? Possibly. I don't know.
I just thought myself.
I was never good at math, but like this makes no sense.
I just stopped myself from having to use the brand new nuke the stream toggle that C's just taught me.
Yeah, do that. Don't use that button. Don't touch the button.
It's like, oh, that's what it does. Okay. There is so. There's another clip I want to get in here because I'm going to switch gears a little bit. There is a trend going on in society that I'm going to call like murder capitalism because that sounds snazzy. But like the reason I'm calling it that is because it's the belief that property has an inherent superior value over life. And I think it's something that is infecting us socially. I think it's something that as you're seeing this like crime wave, all this kind of stuff happening, you're going to see a lot of it. But I saw it like most disgustingly this week. And I think a lot of us saw it this week in one way with this man who was outside of his, I'm not sure, but this is, liberal ass San Francisco. And this is his man outside this building. And he is just like spraying this woman with water. Who is clearly unhoused and trying to, just like, exist and live outside. Keep in mind, this is winter in California, which, sounds like a dream to some people. But in San Francisco, it's actually extremely cold. Anywhere in California is actually extremely cold, but we had this like avalanche of rain. We just had like days of rain nonstop, flooding everywhere. So it's cold, it's rainy, it's wet outside. And this good neighbor, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, decides to aid in that by absolutely pummeling this poor unhoused woman with water. So we'll see that video here. All he's saying is move. And so, yeah, you see the video here. It's like not that long, but it's just, I think the reaction's more ridiculous because he was all like, no, look what I'm doing. I'm the good guy. You don't get it. Like, this is, I'm being good here. This is just how this is just how she wants to live. I've been trying to help her out. But I can't really understand how people can say, I'm trying to help this person out, I'm the good guy, while you're also like literally spraying water in a person's face. Like, never mind the historical context in America of a white person doing that to a black person of like any class whatsoever. But yeah, you're in San Francisco and you're a white person of some wealth because like you have property in San Francisco, to a black person who literally doesn't have a home. And that's
how do you justify that?
I don't know.
And especially like the worst part is like when he first starts spraying her, he's literally just sitting there with like his foot kicked up, like he's laying back chilling. Like it's like this is like all good and a breeze to him. It's so disgusting. All good in the hood,
yeah. Like this is.
Look at him. Look with his foot up. Like, oh god, it's just God. I just don't understand where you get to the point where you start treating other human beings as if they're not human beings. It's absolutely just. Oh god, like especially like this guy's in San Francisco, like I don't know.
I mean,
I can't.
No, elaborate on that, C's, because what is San Francisco supposed to mean? I think we get to an important thing here, actually.
Yeah, because I think the normie like American outside of San Francisco perspective, San Francisco,
outside of California.
Yeah, outside of California, especially because I go to San Francisco and I try to go back the next day. Like
I went to San Francisco. No, instead of I left my heart, I left my stolen goods and a broken window in San Francisco.
Yeah, you live there. You of all people know, but like San Francisco, like that's a place where like I think that the mindset it's like, oh, here's this super super lefty city, super woke lefty city that has all kind of like technology and Uber and all this fancy stuff and Lyft rides everywhere and like the little scooters and they're just doing all this kind of things. But I think that people understand like it's a place that's riddled with extremely explosively high property value. That's led to a lot of people obviously with the high homeless population because no one can afford to live in these extremely expensive properties. And the people that have moved there and can afford those properties are, you can obviously tell, not the most progressive individuals. And you can see as such as how they're treating another human being, especially when it's like this white guy doing it to this black woman. It says horrific symbolism already, and when it comes to historical history already, doing this to just, even if it wasn't a black woman, like an individual in general in the middle of winter when, yeah, he's right. Like parts of California get cold, and especially like San Francisco is weird in comparative to California. Like in June, it's like cold in San Francisco. It's very strange. While it's like 90 here, it's completely different up there. And I can't imagine treating a homeless person like that. It's funny because when it's cold, I always think about like, man, or it's raining. I'm like, oh, I really hope like the homeless person has shelter tonight or something like that. I kind of think about that like in my head, and I'm like, oh, like here's a guy who's spraying someone down, like just absolutely disgusting. But yeah, that's the mentality I think that a person who has never been or not from California thinks about San Francisco is like, it's that kind of like tech town. You know what I mean? Like tech city.
No,
so sad. I love San Francisco, the city itself. Like obviously it has a lot of problems, and those problems are pretty well known nationally, I think. But it's such a beautiful city. It has such a unique, interesting history. Like just the landscape of it. It is literally one of my favorite cities in the United States. And it is really sad to see what's happening with it and what's going on there and how the demographics are shifting and things like that. And as those demographics shift, the culture of the city shifts, right? What it became known for is shifting, right? It's becoming known for all kinds of different things now. And it's unfortunate because they're losing young people because young people simply cannot afford to live in San Francisco, right? And so all of their progressiveness, you know, a lot of their younger ideals and ideas, all those are leaving the city, which is really, really sad to see. But the bigger issue is, you know, what you're talking about, you know, property versus human life, and which is more valuable, which is more important, right? And it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier when Steve was on. Like it's a matter of people don't want to be inconvenienced, right? You can see the big picture and see what needs to happen, but it's like, but like, does it make a difference if I do it, if I subscribe to this, or, you know, like, does my life specifically need to be disrupted for the bigger picture to still happen, right? Can I still use my gas stove if everybody else switches over to induction or electric, you know? So it's it's like NIMBYs kind of, I guess, is applicable there. But it's weird because it does seem like the value of human life is not what's valued, right? We see it all the time. People like in government officials, they don't really care about how many people die because they said something terrible, right? We saw the Republican Party downplay the COVID pandemic, the thing that already was killing people all over Asia and Europe and Africa before it even came to North America, right? And we saw them still downplay it. And we saw the Republicans tell their constituents not to get the vaccine. We saw them tell them that it's not a big deal. Go to church, go to these rallies, go do all these things. And we saw them dying. We saw people dying. And the government was like, the agenda is more important than those actual human lives that are gone. They're not there anymore. And now we're missing all these people. And now they're like, hey, what's with the job market? How come we can't find workers? You know, so there's always something that is more important than these people who are actually dying. And like what's happening with women now with Roe v. Wade and all this abortion stuff, women are actually dying, right? People who need abortions and can't get them or can't get access to health care for various reasons, they're dying because of it. But it's still not as important as the agenda. You can look at gun rights, same thing. I don't think I need to elaborate anymore there. You know, it's like literal children and it's still not as important, you know, and I think part of that is because we can't really conceptualize those big numbers of people, right? We can't, our brains, our hearts, or whatever won't let us feel what that feels like to lose that many people, right? It's much more real to us if we lose one person in our lives, one person of significance to us, right? Not just somebody that we know of, not even somebody in our lives, but somebody that we give a shit about, like a lot, right? That's when it becomes real. And then it's like, I can't imagine the people who have lost people to something as, you know, just abhorrent as like a political agenda in one way, shape, or form, and then having to live with that, knowing that that's why I no longer have this person in my life, you know? And then on top of that, knowing that like nobody cares because it's just one of 500,000 people, you know, and the government's never going to apologize to me or to that person or to the family or to the friends, you know, like there's never going to be any kind of accountability for any of it.
Getting into that, because that reminds me of the next story over here, unfortunately, because welcome to America. But to get into more of this idea of like murder capitalism, there is a 13-year-old boy, his name was Karen Blake, who lived in Washington, D.C., and he was gunned down just this Saturday by a man who claimed he saw the teenager tampering with vehicles. He had a registered gun, and he shot the boy following an interaction. Of course, this is according to the shooter, who I'm trying to make sure like I have his name here. But essentially, like the annoying part about this is that we're only listening to one side of the story here because this kid's dead, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a this idea, and like a lot of people will see like, hey, the reason you have a gun is to defend your property. If you see someone trying to take things from you or trying to invade your property, then that's your right to go kill them. But like, I don't love this whole like guns thing, but sure, we live in America. It's full a society full of guns. Sure, like you have them to protect and defend yourself. Your life isn't in danger if someone is stealing stuff from your car. Like, believe me, I've been there pretty recently. Like, I thought about like, okay, like how can I get this person, maybe like get them down, like not hurt them, but make it so they can't run away with my stuff anymore. But like ultimately, like the stuff is replaceable. Human life is not. And if there are consequences, if let's say this boy was stealing things and he can't go up to learn why that's bad and learn that there are other ways to make money, or he can't go up and like live to clear his name, is the whole thing. Because we live in a society where a lot of people are going to look at this and go, well, he shouldn't have been out jacking cars. Well, this is what happened when you have people with a gun. And so like these two stories, and it was Bree Newsom, I think, who pointed this out when I was looking at this, who was just like, this is what you get when you have a society. Both stories, whether it's the guy in San Francisco or this 13-year-old boy, basically people identified as owners are given wide latitude to assault and kill because under capitalism, poor and non-white people are counted as less than property. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's the sad thing about that.
I mean, even think about it, like, even if he was like carjacking or whatever he was doing out there, like, you don't deserve to die for that. You're supposed to at least get due process, right? Like, that's it. You know, you're not supposed to die for something like that. You're not supposed to not have the opportunity, like you said, not only just to clear your name, but just to like learn and grow, you know? Can you imagine if like you make a single mistake in your life and then somebody just kills you over it, you know? And it's like, and you don't like, there's so much that is about all of these situations, and it's exhausting to have to like explore all of them in the depth that they would require to kind of like be respectful of the life that was lost, right? You just can't do it because these things happen way too often, and you know, you can't examine everything. And the worst part is that whenever people do examine them, they look for kind of like, oh, not everybody, but a lot of people look for like a justification for shooting somebody like a 13-year-old kid. You know, they're diving into the story, looking for a justification of why it makes sense that this person was shot and killed, that this child was shot and killed, you know. And that's really, it's very misguided. And I think it says a lot about us as a society that we've gotten to the point where we're justifying the killing of children.
Rationalizing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really sucks that with, especially like, I mean, people have the different opinions on like carrying and weapons, but it really sucks that individuals feel like it's okay to literally end the life of someone who hasn't even got to live a quarter of his, you know, projected a quarter of his lifespan, hasn't even gotten to be 21, haven't even got to be an adult yet. You get to take away everything in his life and future and everything he ever gets to have because you thought that he might have been like stealing laptops out of a car. You think the value of a human is not equal to is less than like properties and stuff. Like I hate it. I hate this. You know, there was that report that came out that unfortunately, like law enforcement has killed more people in 2022, and you know there was that also another shooting as well. I believe last week in Venice with an officer shooting a young male, and you know, I'm sorry, tasing a male to death, and it's just like, you know, with this, it's like and there was also another video of like another guy who had shot a criminal who came into like a restaurant or like came to like rob a restaurant. He like shot him like 10 times. I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like, just because you have a weapon to defend yourself, that doesn't mean that it gives you the right to end the lives of others if they're not doing something that directly endangers your life. Like, that there's no confusion about that, especially, and it's only if, of course, it's a state that allows this. But if you're gonna say allows that, like this kid's like stealing out of a car, who cares? Like, I mean, call the police, let the authorities that you probably support so heavily and want to back, let them come and do the job they're getting paid $270,000 a year to do, instead of you going in like ending this poor child's life. So it's just, yeah, it's so sad to see. You know, that article made me like really sad. So young too.
Yeah. That like thing you were just saying, I forget, but there's like a police bot on Twitter that tells you the salaries of police officers if you I forget, maybe it's just for LAPD or something.
No,
but
that bot that bot just filters off of that one site where you can just look up any public record the salary, any public employee's salary, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is. I think it's just been a cool tool. Like, anytime you see an officer who is being like identified in one of these things, someone pulls that up and they're like, "Oh, just off of overtime alone, they're making like $80K this year." I'm like, "Damn, that's nice." And wish I could. How about that? Kick some of that.
That
action.
would be nice.
Yeah, kick some of that action to me. Like,
Yeah, no degree, 95,000. Like, wow.
I can idle my car.
Sick, dude.
Dude, I feel like every time I do one of these live streams, there's like a point where I'm just like, oh, I'm asleep now. So
I'm trying to like frame it out. So like, I'm getting a lot better at just setting these up and running these. Now I'm thinking about, okay, how do I produce it? So like, there's like serious stuff, there's light stuff, and I do have like at least one light story to kind of end things out here. So there's that.
Yay,
but yeah,
happiness.
yeah, no, definitely. I'm gonna try to incorporate more like fun stuff throughout it too.
No, I wasn't saying that like I'm bored. I'm just saying it's like
you're also
I
2
go to
hours
sleep
ahead
at,
of me.
like, 10
Yeah, to be
o'clock.
fair, you're in a different time zone. You're doing a lot.
It's the time zone. Yeah,
Yeah,
the topics are fine and very.
It's the time
engaging.
zone, guys. It's a time zone.
Yeah, I just feel like after like there's like a noticeable drop off in like my engagement on whatever I do this show. At some point, I'm just like, no, I'm here. I'm just.
I'm here physically, y'all. Don't worry.
No. It's I totally get it.
No, I feel that.
I actually, there is a thing I do around the last hour of the show I've noticed where I start like planning ahead, like, oh, there are things I could do in the hour after the show, like, oh, I should really edit, or I should really like, tweak this thing, or I'm gonna hop into Stream Elements and make sure I got this working. And then during the last 30 minutes, those thoughts always turn to, I'm gonna eat dinner. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna watch TV. I'm
gonna watch Breaking Bad.
You're right. Or like I'm in The Sopranos right now. I'm actually in a good spot with both. I'm in season 4 of The Sopranos. I'm about to finish Breaking Bad entirely. So is Better Call Saul, is that worth it? Should I jump into that?
Yeah. You just have to be patient with the first season.
Damn.
I got a free month of Apple TV or Apple TV Plus like yesterday. I activated it, and Apple was like one of the ones that I was just like, no more streaming, sir. I'm not paying for any more. I put my foot down, and that's where I happened to draw the line, was at Apple TV Plus. And so I ended up with like a free month of it because I signed up for something else and they gave it to me. And so now I'm just like, I have to watch everything in a month.
Now you're marathoning everything.
Yeah. So like today, as like I watched like 5 episodes of the morning show. That one started there. I'm probably I'm gonna watch the Chris Evans show because I'm gonna watch it.
You're gonna watch the Tom Hanks movie, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I might. Yeah, there's 2 movies with him on it, but yeah, the other one, that something with an F. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, but my Apple TV knowledge is very low, but I have like a month on my iPhone that I want to cash in. And I'm like, when I got some time, I'm just gonna go in there and just go hard.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my next, from today to like, yeah, February 12th. That's what I'll be doing. February.
Now you have an exact date.
Yeah.
February 12th.
Because that's my renewal date. They're gonna renew me.
February 11th, she's canceling.
Cancel on the 10th. Yeah.
There you go.
Whatever's there is there.
Yeah.
We have Aliyah Bear in the chat who says, I love you, Yaz, in response to when you were like going, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of tired. So it's okay. We have people rooting for us.
You
Thank
fight
you.
the power.
Yeah. And they also say Tom Hanks, my birthday buddy. Oh, I didn't understand that originally, but I'm like, oh, you share a birthday. That's cool. I was like, have y'all like hung out together on your birthday? It's like, oh no, I'm trying to show my timing.
When's the birthday? When's Tom Hanks's birthday?
We should Google that while I thank Tomamundo for subscribing via Twitch Prime. So we love that. I didn't get to talk about
July 9th.
July 9th.
Yeah.
July 9th. That's sick. But
Yeah.
no, yeah. Thank you, Tomamunda, by the way, for subscribing via Twitch Prime. We really love that. We really appreciate that. You're enjoying not having to sit through an ad right now, which is cool. But yeah, I wanted to shout you out earlier, but we were in the middle of talking about that like really deep story, so I wanted to like make sure we like didn't interrupt the flow of that. But no, thank you. Really appreciate you. And yeah, July 9th. When's
Cancer, in case anyone's wondering.
I forget when your birthday is, so I'm just gonna like shoot this off the hip. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, "Why are you, as a man, born in July or like born in the summer?"
What?
That's why are you as a man born in the summer?
What does that mean?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, let that marinate for a little bit. Like, is that because I didn't know how to take it when I first received that? Oh, I didn't receive it. Someone just like I.
Do you
read
know
it
how to
online.
take it now? Like, did
Well, no, because I mean, I as a man was not born in the summer. I was born in. Well, it's
In what
ambiguous.
hemisphere?
It's ambiguous, but let's just say, that's a fair balance. Not afraid. No, it's ambiguous, but let's say I was born in the feminine month of February.
Then
February what?
You weren't even born on a calendar month that exists at all.
Are you
Like,
a
were
leap baby?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a leap baby.
Oh,
He's
I
barely
did know
legally
that,
in the world right now.
You know, like 2 of my very good friends are also leap babies. Well, one of them is like 6, though. It's like my friend's kid, but
well,
but I like him. So.
Who's technically 2 or 1.
Yeah. He's only had like one real birthday. so
1.5
yeah,
years
he's
old.
1.5 years old. You have to
He's had one birthday.
Yes,
Oh,
I think he was born in 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost had to break out the Shapiro long division tables to make sure I like knew like
that's
wait,
how we
so
figure
how
out
long is
whatever
it?
the hell your birthday is.
Yeah, he's like one. He'll be 1.5 this year.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
divide by 4.
I was born on a traditional date on the 8th of February, a real date, not this every 4-year hubbub that Dan does. I don't know what that's about, but I guess
What a February
I was
guy.
born in the summer. Technically, in Brazil, it was summer in February, so but I still don't know what that means. I mean, I'm down. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Why were you, as a man?
Yeah, I don't know. You're asking me why I was born? That's an insane question.
Very
As if I had a
interrogatory.
choice in this.
I'm in the fall. I'm a fall baby.
Oh yeah, we did talk about. I think it's like October 8th,
October 27th.
27th. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because there's like some tweet that was like, there's for some reason like Thursday in October and something like this just like
Oh,
go
yeah.
together, and you're like, oh wow, that hit me. But like,
Yeah,
no,
and I was like, that's me. I was
That's
born on
Scorpio?
a Thursday in October. Yeah, I'm a Scorpio. Yeah. And I was born in New England, so it was like a proper fall birthday. And I live in Houston now. And every year around my birthday, I'm usually, if you like follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I'm not home in October. I'm usually in New York or Boston or Connecticut because it's just like I have to go. I need a fall birthday and I can't find it here. It's not here. My birthday is in Connecticut. It's not down here, so it just doesn't feel right.
If I was gonna say, does that mean that like when like do you guys ever see that video of that guy from the No Boys ask what the state of where's New England? That was one of my favorite videos of all time, where he's like, "Where's New England?" It's that's such a great question that I can never imagine an American person asking. Like every foreigner is like, "What the hell is New England?"
I feel
for
like
sure.
people,
But an
ask that.
American being like New England is a beautiful thing to hear.
But that'd actually be a fun game because like I as like a half American would probably like say one state is New England and like immediately lose half my subscribers. Like,
Yes. As the resident
Like, we can't listen to
immigrant,
this
I
guy
would dunk
or
on you.
anything.
I will name them. Let's go.
No, I once. So, oh, that's a lot of trouble. I'm not gonna say that out loud.
Oh, Dan, come on.
What were you gonna say?
Someone no, I'm not gonna say that. Maine is in New England, right?
It's a stretch.
Whoa.
Not really. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, Maine.
Like Portland used to kind of be part of Massachusetts, like that. So like kind of,
Yeah, like Connecticut counts, but not Maine. I don't think Maine people really say that, right?
Not really.
Well,
yeah, it's mainly like
we're way out there.
Connecticut and like kind of Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like the tri-state areas like Connecticut, New York, Jersey. So
The Carolinas.
the what? The what? The who?
Wow. You know what? On that note, PowerPoint
No,
is on
no.
every Thursday.
I just said that just to troll.
Where's that nuke button, Dan?
I just
Where's
said
that
that's the
nuke
troll.
button?
Yeah,
That legitimately confused me for like half a second. I was like, what did he say?
It was so such blasphemy.
I'll one of my favorite things I've ever done online with the power of social media that I have is posting to my Instagram story when I went to New York. Time to try some of that famous New York style pizza y'all rave about, and it was a photo of the Bed-Stuy Sbarros.
Stop. Oh my god.
Like literally,
So I don't want to hear people attack Sbarro's. That's
I
a
got
classic
nothing.
American mall chain.
I got nothing but I literally did get reactions. I got
Sbarro's
comments.
New York style pizza.
I didn't get reactions. I got comments. I got so and so message you. So and so message you. So and so message you. I'm
You,
like,
you
whoops.
honestly deserved it.
Whoops. I'm like, y'all.
Oh my God, chat is blowing up over
I'm like,
this.
y'all even from New York, yo? Like, what is this?
That's terrible. That's so sad. And like, I grew up on Sbarro, because like you go to the mall, you get some pizza, right? You get a slice, but oh yeah, that's terrible.
I'm all about Wetzel's pretzels if we're in the mall, honestly. Like that's good American mall food is Wetzel's pretzels. It's nice, it's greasy. If you want to, you could get that little like cinnamon dip if you wanted to. Like you could but
what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like what is this conversation?
You don't even know New England. I'm already done with this.
Wait, do you guys remember Orange Julius?
I mean,
no.
I would just say it as a joke, but like, is that a thing?
Okay, well, I'm asking because, okay, I don't know if it was a thing everywhere in the country or if it was like regional, but somebody on the damage report in the comments, they referenced Orange Julius, which was like an old place in malls, right? I don't think it's in malls anymore, but I was on the damage report with John, and he and I are actually from the same town in Connecticut originally, right?
Bridgeport.
And I was like, yo, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, yeah. We're both from
Yeah,
Bridgeport.
that's where my fake was from.
Who?
my alleged fake ID in college.
Oh my, really? Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Allegedly.
06610.
It worked.
There's
Allegedly.
But it was like, immediately somebody said like Orange Julius. It just took me back to like our Bridgeport mall, the Orange Julius there. And so if we're talking about malls, and yeah, there it is.
Let me get it on
Somebody
screen.
called Trump Orange Julius Caesar, which we both thought was very clever.
I mean, we know Dairy Queen. We got Dairy Queen out here.
Let me tell you something right now. When she brings up Orange Julius, do not counteract with Dairy Queen, okay?
Look, it's right here.
It could not be more different of an establishment.
They're literally the same.
It's like,
Look.
no, Orange Julius and Dairy Queen are completely different types of stuff, dude. They're just there together, but they're not the same type of stuff.
I mean, okay, I also agree with you about those like combination Taco Bell Pizza Huts.
And like the Schlotzskys and
it's
Cinnabons.
I've never.
Whoa! Are we attacking those? Wait, whoa! We don't have a problem with that, do we?
I don't even know what a Schlotzskys is. Is that?
No, we had a problem with the Taco Bell pizza. That was a great time. America fell off since that stopped. That was a great time in my life.
No, but I'm saying like they also don't go together, but they also go together.
Those always remind me of like road tripping with my family, and like at the rest stops there was always like a hubbub of fast food.
Yeah.
Together, just like a random assortment that was like upsetting but also very comforting.
I mean,
you're
it's
on
like
the road. You're just like,
you expect the pizza to be one thing, you get it, you're like, this is what I just.
yeah,
this
you're
is
like, I don't know why these things are together. That feels wrong, but I'm glad that you're all here.
Since we're
I'm
talking,
glad I have options.
since we're talking about the whole like there's a Borders behind this photo. Like, look how old this is. Like above the Orange Juniors. Remember Borders books? Like this is pour one out.
Yeah, this is sad. This got sad.
Also, like the like I laughed earlier when I was Googling this because it says parent organization Berkshire Hathaway, and I'm like, that tells me all I need to know about what happened to Orange Julius.
I was defending it, but I've never like remembered an Orange Julius in my life. I can't be like, oh, that was orange. I don't remember that. All I went to the mall was got Cinnabon. I was on my mission for Cinnabon. If it was Cinnabon there, I'm gonna eat it. Cinnabon is mine.
It was Wetzel's Pretzels for me. I'm sorry.
I had a Cinnabon phase. We have Auntie Anne's pretzels here. Do you guys have that?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like they have them in movie theaters, and that's like the most like stale pretzels that you get. But like it's movie theater, so I won't hold it to them.
Oh, at the mall they make them fresh. So
we have a quick question. Really quick, random question too. Since we're off topic, quick. What's your guys' go-to movie theater food?
Oh, I had to go to a movie theater, but like okay. Theater
food.
Like snack or food you get.
Popcorn and then something sweet. Either chocolate or gummy bears.
Gummy bears?
Either, so it's popcorn and either chocolate or gummy bears. And if it's chocolate, it's those little
popcorn and chocolate.
You what?
I always feel like it has to be a popcorn and a chocolate. I gotta get a chocolate with it.
Yeah, I do the bunch of crunch. I like those.
I'm not a big popcorn guy because what I would usually do is like I would get a small or when I was dumb and I wasn't thinking about this, I would get like a large popcorn. I would like get the top layer like during the trailers and shit, and then I wouldn't touch the whole thing for the rest of it because I just don't like popcorn that much. Yeah, it's just my own thing. And maybe it's definitely my problem, but like I actually went to a movie. I went to a movie theater with 3 other people to see Avatar 2. And we.
Did you cry?
It was like recently.
No. I got bored and I started watching Family Guy after like the first hour. Like it was like movie long a hail.
I cried 4 times.
Movie long a hail. No, that's my favorite recent meme though of like people watching Avatar 2 and then like under it like playing Subway Surfers because like we're so brain broken.
You guys don't love art. That's why I listen to Ben Shapiro for movie reviews and not you bozos.
No, yeah, but like I forget what movie theater food. I've realized that my thing is nachos at movie theaters.
In the movie theater?
They're not good, but like nothing is. Like
look, we're both like appalled.
And
what happened to you?
That's not the point, but like
you bite into that nacho chip in the movie theater, and it's like, was that a chip for real? What the hell? How long has that been there?
I used to have a friend in high school, and she used to get those pickles before, those big ugly jars of like huge jars of pickles when you go to the movie theater, and the pickles are like huge.
If I'm on MF Doom, what is jalapenos?
I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this movie with you. You're eating a pickle next to me? No way.
And she would get one every time we go to the movies to the point where I was just like, you need to hurry up and just like eat that. So like I can't sit next to you while you're eating that. Just get it over with. Just finish it. And it was like wrapped in plastic. Like it was gross. It was like wet and plastic. I don't know. It was gross.
No, that's the end of a friendship for me.
Aaliyah Bear, thank you for holding.
I think I just stopped going to the movies with her. So I'm not we're not.
Yeah, there you go. You're like, how come we
can go to the mall? You know.
Thank you for holding out for me, Aaliyah Bear. I would say in the chat for liking Wetzel's Pretzels. It's. I mean, like it as far as like, do I seek it out very often? No, but like at this point in my life, like 2 or 3 times a year. Yeah, there's one down the street. Yeah, what the hell? Like, just get dip in some cheese.
Reasonable.
That's fine.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 pretzels a year. Yeah.
Again, like
how often do you go to malls anymore, right?
I haven't been to the mall in a long time.
I go to shopping centers. Okay, I go to shopping center. No. Outlet malls though, deals, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I just don't shop very much. But if I needed to or wanted to, I would go to a mall.
I just kind of buy some stuff at Target. That's kind of what I do. Like, oh, this is a sweater.
The last thing I bought from Target was like a couple of t-shirts, and they came from the kids section. So I think I can't shop at Target. I'm like an adult woman who is very small. So it's hard for me to find like age appropriate clothing because the stuff that fits me is like made for teenagers. And that's not like a flex or anything like that. It's just it is what it is, right? So like a lot of my stuff that is nicer, I have to get it tailored, or I have to get it from like very specific places that have like good petite sections, because it's like I'm also short, it's not a weight thing necessarily either. I'm 5 feet tall. So it's difficult. It's difficult. And yes, there are worse problems to have. So I'm not complaining necessarily. I'm just saying that it's hard for me to find clothes sometimes.
I'm not chuckling
Same.
for the height thing. I'm just like, I'm chuckling because I'm imagining Yasmin and C's bumping each other at the News Balance section at Target.
No. Yaz is on the section over there. I'm on the section looking at the bare end of the store for clothes that could be my size. I'm like, this is crazy. They only have 1XL. This is for the tiny male. This is not fair.
Yeah.
They do nothing for the big boys. What's going on here?
We have very different issues. When it comes to shopping.
We're on the polar opposite, but we both suffer in our own way.
You're seen and you're heard on this chat.
It's a cross
for
to
sure.
bear. Yeah.
Yeah, we're seen and we have a space. We have a safe space here. We're able to speak on these issues.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to hear other perspectives.
Yeah.
We're covering the spectrum.
Not really. I hate hearing other perspectives.
Not
That's why
really.
I have a show.
Yeah, there's a lot.
No. She Ilya said like you got to try it on. There's nothing more aggravating than having to like get clothes and try it on. Oh my god, it's such a chore.
Trying on
That's-
clothes.
Oh god.
It's the most aggravating thing. It's the most like aggravating thing to
pants?
not be able to though, because also don't you hate ordering stuff online and you can't like try things out first?
I usually just buy it.
I do,
just buy
yeah.
the clothes
But at
anyways,
least if
and
you're
I
in the
just
store, you
return
can
it.
at least see it, so that helps. Because most of the time, I don't try something on. What pisses me off the most, though, is when I do try something on and it fits exactly the way that I thought it would. Because then I'm like, this was a waste of my time. I could have just taken it home. Like for somehow that's what pisses me off. Like if I go into the fitting room and it doesn't fit the way I want it to, that feels justified to me. It's like it's a good thing I tried this on. But if it fits me well, I'm pissed. Like it's like this was a waste.
I did
like,
all
I'm
this.
so
I knew it was
mad.
gonna fit. What am I doing?
Yeah, like I already knew it was gonna be fine. It was always gonna be fine,
You just hear her huffing and puffing down the leaving Target.
And I'm like, I'll
up to
take
the,
it.
up to the self checkout. It's ridiculous.
No, that apparently struck a chord. I want to read some messages on that and then get to the last story and then we'll div. But someone was said, T-Cell says, first time viewer, great chemistry, guys. Keep doing live. An important age of fake everything, in my honest opinion. You three of you have great personalities, well spoken, and represent diverse perspectives. That'll be $5. Just kidding.
Nice comment.
No, thank you, T-Soul. Good to have you here. Definitely subscribe over on YouTube and keep coming. We try to do this and make it fun. But Ilya Bell was saying, yes, I know, especially during COVID, I guess responding to trying on clothes and stuff, because that was terrible. But I'm a big ASOS proponent. That's been going pretty well for me, even though some of their clothing's been a little bit interesting clothing styles lately. I'll say that. But it's such a big store, it barely matters. Last good news story. Like genuinely, I'm not being cynical about this. This is pretty good news, but nurses and doctors in general, but like especially nurses specifically, right? They're during the whole pandemic, we were saying, oh, these are essential workers. Our nurses and our medical staff are really keeping us together. And then when it came time to, okay, we've got rapid inflation, cost of living is going up, rent, food, gas, etc. cost a lot of money. These are some of our most essential workers in society. They helped us during COVID-19. We're going to force them to work longer hours for even less pay. We're going to make the executives have more in salaries, and we're going to pay more for the executives' cars than we do for some of these people's salaries and their benefits. And the workers weren't having it anymore. So in like New York at the Mount Sinai Hospital, I think that's 2 in this system, they were striking for 3 days. And the nurses were like, look, a nurses strike is the last thing we want to do because that means that we're not helping patients. And we want to do that because we're nurses inherently. And they're even saying, like, listen, with most strikes, we say don't cross the picket line. But this is a hospital. So, like, if you need care, get the help. Like, that's not what's going on here. But the point is that, like, and the point is that I love seeing these kinds of moments where you're seeing workers who don't have a lot of power, unfortunately, in their workplace, where they don't get a say in a lot of what's going on. They're able to stand up and go, y'all really need us. So why are we not being treated for what we're worth? Why are we not getting paid for what we're worth? And the New York City nurses, they reached a tentative agreement. The tentative agreement reportedly includes, quote, concrete enforceable safe staffing ratios. So if there will, quote, always be enough nurses at the bedside to provide safe patient care, not just on paper. And yeah, that was one of the big asks, is that they were trying to, like a lot of places, running like as few people as you possibly could to make a profit.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really great to see people rally together to support, the rights of workers, and especially the nurses coming together like this. And that's actually a very interesting one to have like a base on, right? Like it like, oh, here we're gonna rally and strike for something, but like this is actually like care. This is some people that work in the field of healthcare, and they're like, yeah, but like we're not gonna like hate you for crossing the picket line because we're here to help you. But we also at the same time want to vocalize our rights and what's important and what we're owed in this situation. So that's such like that must have been, honestly, especially for them. Like I can't speak on their experience, but that must have been really mentally difficult for them to make that effort and to even go forth and trying to get others to join them for the strike. That's a tough conversation to have. Like it takes a different type of level to be a nurse, and it takes different kind of mentality, and to be able to put that selflessness aside in order to understand that you want to fight for your rights and what you and what you're owed as an employee, and also at the same time understand that people still at the end of the day need their care. Like it's great to see them coming together like this, and they're able to strike a deal. Like I love that. I love seeing people come together and getting that stuff done.
Yeah, it's true, because like, especially if you work in healthcare, I mean, those are your patients in there, right? And you don't want to see people suffer. But at the end of the day, like whenever we keep seeing all of these strikes happening in various industries, right? These are all crucial industries, not just to the economy, but just to people's lives, right? To everyday lives in America, in the world. We're always going to need nurses. We're always going to need people doing specific jobs, right? To have a functioning society, right? And the fact that they are having to take such drastic measures just to get very, very basic human rights-esque accommodations at their jobs, like just a livable wage or healthcare, just like all these things that you would expect from equitable and just like a good employer, right? Just things that you would, bare minimum things. And they're having to fight so hard from them that they're having to disrupt their entire industry. They're having to put people's lives at risk, right? If you're working in healthcare, they shouldn't have to do any of this, right? And you have to wonder, these people who are refusing to pay workers or refusing to give them time off or refusing to give them healthcare and all these things, what is their end? Like, what kind of society do they think that they're going to create at the end of this, right? We keep seeing this happening over and over again. What is the end goal here? That we're just going to have like a handful of elite people and then serfs who are just have to work for the rest of our lives for nothing. We have to work and work and work and still not have enough money to own property or to buy eggs or whatever the case is, right? And we're just going to have to deal with it, and that's it. I don't know if that's what they're after. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I don't see, if something doesn't change, how that's not the very near future, where we're living in a society like that, because we already kind of are, right? We're kind of making it work now. People are getting by, but barely. And this is pretty bad. Like the wealth inequality in the country is already so bad. And on top of that, you have infrastructure issues and societal issues. Like, we just don't have systems in place anymore that are meant to support a population, right? They're not meant to contribute to a functioning society. And on the Republicans now that they have some power in Congress, in the House, are looking to dismantle what few social programs we do have that would help. And they're looking to hinder certain things that would also help, infrastructure, for example. So I don't know what the end goal is. I wish that we wouldn't have to strike. I wish that entire industries of people or entire hospital staffs would not have to go on strike just to get what they deserve, to get the things that they should have had in the first place. But that's where we are. And it is nice to see it working this time, because it doesn't always work. And it's very upsetting whenever it doesn't work.
Yeah, one thing I'm starting to see from this also is, I was actually just out here, and I don't know like doctors and like hospitals that much very much, but like out here in LA we have a hospital called Cedars-Sinai, and it's a really like big one. It's a very prominent one, like partially because of location, but partially because of like reputation. Like a lot of celebrities end up going there. And that's also the same name as this like Eastern Sinai Hospital, where they were having all this stuff going on apparently. And there's someone around here who was just like out here signing petitions to try to get it so that these nurses could work or like get the ability to get some say over how they're paid, how they're treated, how they're compensated. Because these are the people who are like on the front lines. They're helping so much, and they know how to help, and they only want to help. And a lot of what we're doing is just like making their lives more difficult, which is just one of the more annoying things ever. And to the point here, like someone said in chat, I think it was Smash or SS Smash. I'll figure out what fun way I want to say your name. But like the pandemic is still like not really over. There's now like a triple demic essentially, where you have RSV, COVID, and a really bad flu season. And a number of other like really bad viruses going around that are hospitalizing people or really just debilitating people. Not to mention, like, this is America. People get shot a lot. Like, people are still getting born. People are going through all different types of medical complications. Like, we need nurses more than ever. We need the ability for people to have access to nursing now more than ever. But we are definitely in this kind of situation right now where, we talk a lot of talk about supporting nurses and supporting workers, but when it comes to actually doing that, we don't do enough. And so we ideally, like in a Medicare for all system, we respect people like in this way, but also like in that system, we need to also make sure that nurses and doctors are compensated very well, because you do have some situations where people who work in those universal systems, like in France or whatever, they're working class or middle class. And so I think there's a lot of things you have to consider in that, but I'm glad for this workers' victory here. And hopefully this is how we start in 2023, many more victories from people who are called essential workers, who are going, oh, okay, well, how essential are we? Let's play it. Let's see how that is. Sees his dog also being like, okay, how essential am I? Can I please get up here? Can I
no, the dog's like, well, now I'm striking. I want to go on your lap.
Yeah. There was someone saying,
I was like, I'm doing it. You can't stop me.
Yeah, it's like literally, I'm gonna go sit here. I don't care what you say. I'm like, okay.
A couple chats really fast before we wind down. In fact, I may let me know in chat if because there are a lot of people who, this always happens. There are a lot of people who join like at 9 p.m. when like I'm about to end. And like I'm willing to let the rest of the hostages leave at a certain point, but like maybe I'll sit and chat.
You can hang out with chat.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I've always like, there's some games I can play too. So, yeah. Also, C's is on Twitch. Check out We Made It C's. He's a much better Twitch streamer than I am. So, definitely check out his stuff and what he's doing. Yeah, He also gets sponsorships. So that's like rad.
Whoa!
He's gonna get us kicked up over here soon. But also in the C's thing, Late Bloomer 66 says, "I'm joining late. Hi Dan and Yaz and man with the great beard. Sorry, missed your name."
That's nice.
Yeah, that was nice to you.
It is a great beard.
It's a decent beard. It's an all right beard.
I stream also every day. You know, I feel uncomfortable now. I'm a very decent streamer, and it's definitely not more in the political space of things. But my stream has never been a place where you can't. It's something we're not allowed to talk about. It's all about free flowing conversations, having a good time, playing games, and laughing at me being a horrible gamer. It's kind of what we do, you know.
Yeah. If you're in chat and you want to watch me game, let me know because I'll play not Valorant, something chill like maybe City Skylines. That might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yasmin, let people know where they can find you. Other than sleeping in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I will be in bed. You can find me in bed. I do videos for TYT for the Young Turks on the breakdown. So you can find my content there on their YouTube channel. And then also you can find all of my stuff and me on Instagram and TikTok. And the handle is at YazK with 5 Z's. It's YAZZZZZK.
Z's. And now it's time for your Z's.
It's time for all of my Z's now. So.
Yes.
I'm going to go catch them.
Yes.
Well, this was fun. Thanks
C's,
for having me.
C's,
good time.
Yasmin, thank you both so much for joining me on the first Power Report of the year. And to many more fun ones, exciting ones. Maybe we're going to see if we can get Steve Bermucci back to make us drinks in spirit, or at least give us our recipes and entertainment and enlightenment. So, yeah, we'll definitely do that. But yeah, thank you all for being on. And I'll stay on for a couple more minutes too. So chat.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Yours.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you all for joining me still. I think I'm gonna, we'll see. We'll see who still wants to see me struggle and play a video game. Actually, you can help me with this because City Skylines is very chill. It's very relaxing. Maybe you could fall asleep to it. But also you can help me with some city building because that's kind of the point of the game. You get to build a city and, develop the infrastructure around that. And I'm kind of thinking that I want to do some Saturday streams as well, where, we just kind of like chat and sit and like stream can tell me like, oh, hey, build this. Let's do all this. I love how C's is still on stream. Like, yeah, let's see you build your communist city, library and public services hater. My City Skylines cities go hard, mind you, all right? I don't know if I can stream and play City Skylines as hard as I play, but you know what? We're definitely going to do it. We're definitely going to we'll see if my computer will do it, and we'll configure it out right now. But, yeah, I think that'll be fun. So as I start this, please let me know in chat. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to update Steam and City Skylines too. This is going to take a minute. But as I'm talking in chat, as we're going through this, let me know, do you all, I don't know, are you all urbanists? Do you like world building or city building? Do you like those kind of things? And if so, have you played City Skylines before, or a game that's like, any game that's like that, like The Sims or Tropico or any of those world building kind of games. So it'll definitely be helpful for you here. I log into my Steam like the first time in a year. No, but also it's like the first time in several months I've logged into Steam. So yeah, we'll get to that. We'll play some games and then we'll see until I start to get kind of like and as expected, there's an update for City Sky. Oh, there's TF2 is updating first. City Skylines. Okay. That's half a gig to update. That's going to take a little bit of time, but that's working. And we're going to get that in there. It says a minute remaining, and then it'll probably take a couple minutes to start up. So we'll do that. Smash says you've built ish in Minecraft. Cool. That'll probably be helpful for this. I mean, I imagine. But yeah, you really just never quite know. I never got into Minecraft, unfortunately. Like, it's nothing against Minecraft, of course. Like, I'm very fine people play Minecraft. I'm sure it's a great game. But yeah, I just, for whatever reason, never really got into it. Sean from AudioFace, which, by the way, AudioFace will be streaming live on Sundays on this Twitch channel, so twitch.tv/Dan from the web, and then youtube.com/audiofacepod. Not Dan from the internet, not youtube.com/Dan from the internet, because it's very much not a political thing, and AudioFacePod has its own sort of like channels. But it will be on YouTube at youtube.com/audiofacepod. So definitely watch there, and it'll be a great time. But yeah, I am. City Skylines is almost well, it's downloaded. It just needs to install. I'm also just getting my box ready because I'm still setting up this sort of design thing. And someone said, yeah, it must be really hard. Oh, Left of the Box says, it's 10 after midnight out here. Great show, everyone. Great to hear from you, Left of the Box. We got to catch up sometime soon, not just to have you on the show, but just to like catch up with what you're doing. Everyone check out youtube.com/Left of the Box, by the way, for great Canadian perspective content out there. And yeah, hope you have a good night, Lefty. Sandy. And yeah, so someone was saying, I don't know how you do all this. You're like paying attention to all the YouTube chats and also running the stream and stuff. And like, yeah, I don't know either. Because I just am setting all this stuff up and trying to get it to work and play normally. So yeah, it's a process and it's a little bit of a lot, but I'm figuring it out one day at a time. Living the dream. So here we have part. Well, you can't see it. Like there's part of the screen, but I'm missing all of the chat stuff. But all I got to do is add the chat stuff to here, and then it's there. Bang, bang. So it says another 2 minutes left for the City Skylines, and then it'll have to like load a little bit, so we'll give it that time. But yeah, no, I love playing that game personally, and it's it's honestly like one of the rare times I get to relax and chill, which I don't honestly. And so playing City Skylines while live on Twitch will be an opportunity for me to get an excuse to both play video games and also relax. I'm always looking for an excuse to do both. Because otherwise I'd be like, oh, I should be video editing or I should be doing other stuff. But yeah. Tomas Mundo on YouTube says, Buenas noches, Dan. Gracias por todo. Really appreciate you, Tomas Mundo. Gracias por todo. Por tu, or from you. Thank you for subscribing on Twitch, by the way. It's super helpful. And yeah, feel free to send in any stuff you want me to talk about. I'm super receptive for that. Always down to do that. Any guests you want to see. And yeah, have a good night. Really appreciate you. Have a good one. Okay. We are almost there, y'all. Home stretch. And again, I'm just waiting for Steam to patch these Skylines. It says 10 seconds remaining. Updating. 100%. Cool. I'm freezing up. That's got to be a good thing. Let me see. Hell yeah. I'm gonna switch screens here. See if I can bring game capture. These skylines. And we'll hit resume. Let's see what city I have. Oh, God damn. Launcher. I have to restart the launcher for it. But we'll be there in a moment. License agreement. Okay. Hit resume. So assuming this doesn't break my computer, we'll get to gaming, and then you can help me build my city. You can see my city and then help me build it. And yeah, also it's a little bit of an aside or an allusion to my documentary that I'm working on, where yeah, we will be looking firsthand at we'll be looking firsthand at urbanism and a lot of the stuff that goes around that. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Got city skyline here. Off. Okay. So we've almost got it. I just need to move it to the right screen. Yeah, because right now we're just doing something. Aha. It's loading. I just need to get it onto the right screen because right now it's not playing well. Smash, is there a way you can show us your studio setup? I want to start streaming myself, and I'm asking others how they set up their cameras, mics, monitors, keyboards, lights, etc. Yeah, sure. I'm not great at my camera setup. I mean, like, if you have a Twitter, follow me on Twitter at Dan from the Web, and then yeah, or like even follow me on Instagram at Dan from the Internet, and yeah, reach out to me. And it's like, it's not that I'm just like very likely to forget, but I'm super down to like show off my streaming setup. But basically, I have 2 monitors. There's a camera in front of me. Basically a Sony Alpha camera that I have hooked up to my computer. I have this microphone, the podcast microphone that everyone uses. And then yeah, I have one screen to my left, one screen to my right, and then one screen I'm running OBS on, and I'm seeing OBS most of the time. And the other screen I have, Chrome tabs, other stuff like that. And then to run the streams and like do a lot of the admin stuff, I have my laptop here, also that does this. So it's like a fail-safe computer if all else goes wrong. To say like all this stuff crashes, I can at least communicate to you all, oh no, I've crashed, things are going bad. And then the Stream Deck, one of the better things I've ever bought, is like a little customizable button thing that allows me to switch scenes very easily. I would truly be lost without it, and I'm very glad to have it. So yeah, like that's me talking through it without having photos. But yeah, that's my setup, and I overall pretty much enjoy it. So and there are also similar things to the Stream Deck that are like not quite the same. That other people say work just as well, if not better. But it's definitely helpful to have something that isn't your keyboard that's able to control your OBS of your program. And also keep in mind, like, hosting a show and doing OBS and all this other different stuff is like mad difficult and like takes a lot of effort and time. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it is hard. And there are other bits of software you can get that make it a little bit easier, that you just need to like go and download, and then you can like stream a lot easier in that way. But so like there's like Restream is one, StreamYard is another. There's a ton of different ways to like stream really easily. As I'm seeing Hi Maha talk about this. Happy New Year, Maha. Good to see you. Yeah, it is. God, I'm hopefully, if I can get my like computer working well, I'm just still loading City Skylines. Like, it's just like, it's loading. I can tell the game is moving, but like my computer's probably under a lot of stress, so a lot of stuff isn't happening. But I also haven't turned on this game in so long. But yeah, hopefully, if this game finishes loading, then I can, start playing for y'all. Maybe I should just start closing some programs and help it out. So I have Photoshop open. I don't need that. And then what else do I have? I don't need my camera. I need OBS. Spotify's not doing anything, but I'll close that. And Firefox, I'll close most of the tabs. But yeah, once that's done, there's only so much too. So, oh, there we go. It actually is close to done. That did do something. Never rule out, doing right by your computer, because maybe something good will happen. Okay, truly thank you all for bearing as this all comes together. Boo. My mods are broken. Some of them. Oh. That could be one reason it's not working. Let's see. Do window. And resolution be by 720. Boo. Come on. That's not good. Well, let's do my best here. Hey, that's not bad. Okay. Jack? That well? You see, like, a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now where I'm, like, fumbling around and not able to, like, talk or be engaging is because I'm using OBS and because I'm, like, trying to make all of these disparate things work at once. It, like, requires a lot of, like, focus and game planning. But, it's okay, because I figured it out at long last. And, folks, we got City Skylines. So, yeah. We're going to take a look at my city and what's been going on here since I've last been here, because it has been a minute. And so yeah, this is Omnion. This is my little town here. And Omnion is a bit of a mess because I'll play for another like 30 minutes. So here's what's going on. you have this little freeway that's building into it, and I'm trying to make this like as freewayless of a town as possible. So like the port is over here, and you know all the porty things are happening, and then here's an airport which is kind of like connected to the port complex, and then this is a train station, so it's connected to all the train and the rail that like leaves out of here, like I said, and then yeah, where the people live is this little spot out here, and it's served by a little dedicated tram and this like really dense apartment area. And like a lot of this dense apartment areas, you can see like you could get a car down here this, but it's really narrow and it's meant to be like residential and people walking. And so yeah, that's my city. I'm on the infinite money glitch because I'm a socialist and that's the only way I play. I'm on that modern monetary theory. And yeah. That's how the game is going. So let's see. Oh yeah, you can totally hear the noise. But yeah, so if you want me to do certain things or build certain things a certain way, like I think I'm gonna actually, oh wow, I'm killing a lot of people over here, so I'm going to build a moratorium. Oh, that's right, I don't have a moratorium anywhere over here, or a crematorium, that's what it's called. So why no pier on the waterways besides port? It's a fairly new city. Give me a little bit of a credit. Also, I think so. Yeah, this will probably be a great waterway. Do I have the ability to even build over here? Oh yeah. This is also out of city limits, so I haven't bought this yet. But yeah, no, I think. Yeah, I'll probably leave this waterway fairly pure. But yeah, this waterway definitely leaves a lot to develop on. Like maybe I'll leave this as like a nice beach, and then down here will be a waterway where you can kind of go through the canals. As long as you can actually go to something here, it's not like just like a little river end like that. But yeah, I even see a little bit of hope with this little island over here. Like that would be fun. But yeah, anyways, I gotta not kill some people and build like a crematorium around here somewhere. These pollute a lot, so I don't want to. Oh, here we go. Building must be placed roadside. Yeah, that's the tramway too, is the thing. So let's drop one right here. That should work, right? Okay. Here's the annoying thing is like I'm trying to build stuff by the road and it's not accepting the road, which like might be an update thing. It might be like you just didn't. Yeah, like maybe the mods are broken because I haven't played this game in a while. But yeah, I'm starting to think that like I can't build stuff, which would be a problem. See, like I can build things there. Like it says space already occupied. But oh wait, well, no, that's a thing. Yeah. I should be able to build here. And should just like snap to grid because I can build roadside. But yeah, something's a little bit up there. So a cremation suburb on the outskirts. Yeah, but what I found is like if you have cremation too far away from your people, then sometimes it takes a little bit of a while to get there. So what I might do, honestly, is I don't know, like I got a bunch of errors when I started this, and usually that happens when like the city I've built is just incompatible with like all the new mods. I need to upgrade them. Like I don't want to build a new city because that's like new railways and new lines and all that new stuff. So like it's a I don't know if I'm like into that pay grade, you know? But if I can't build like anything, like let me build a new road here, just like apropos of nothing, and see if like, oh, yeah. You see, this is a problem, because I'm definitely not out of city limits, because like I'm in my, I'm building where my city already is, so like yeah, this is a. I'm gonna just restart the game and see if like that fixes anything. Like reinitializing it, because otherwise yeah, I might have to do like a lot more work to this, and then the stream ends a lot faster than I expected. Oh, there you go. List of incompatible mods. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, so I might have to build a new game just to make these mods work. Let's quit out. And then restart and see if that, ooh, blank screen, woo. Let's see if that fixes anything. And if that doesn't work, then I think I'll call it, because I have been streaming and up all day and I'm a little bit tired. But we'll see how we do. Okay, so I'm resuming. Waiting for something to happen. There we go. Loading the game now, and see if it works this time. But if not, we may have to just like build cityscapes. Oh, this is City Skylines, yeah, but this is on Steam. Yeah, I'm running it off of Steam. This might be a situation where I have to build a new city. Which is fine. We could live with it, I guess. I don't want to, but we could. Oh man, it's gonna take a long time to load. Well, I think we're gonna figure out like this doesn't play right, and then we'll probably end it. But because yeah, it's pretty late for people watching on the West and East Coast, and I'm starting to run out of like fun content to go. I could always give like Twitter a little doom scroll and see what's going on there, but I think that's where we might call it. Let's see. LMP? Oh, Lisa Marie Presley. That is exactly. But apparently someone named Lisa Marie Presley passed. Rest in peace to them. But Smash, thank you very much for joining. It was really great to have you here and on broadcasting. Oh no, tomorrow's Friday the 13th, seriously? That's unlucky. Yeah, no, nothing really fun is trending on Twitter.com. So, I think once this loads, we'll give it the good. And that'll be all. Yes. Good night. And cheers. Goodbye. And Ela Bear, I think I'll probably just like end it here, honestly. Regardless of how this ends, because I am pooped. But thank you for joining. It was a really good show. And so I'll plan a lot more fun things, and I will plan a lot more like having my shit together, and I'll plan a lot more fun stories and videos to watch, like I often do. So we'll do it. Oh yeah, look at all that broken stuff. Can't build shit. Gonna have to make a new city. That sucks. Oh well. That'll be for next time. That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Late Boomer, you'll be my last message. I am glad I caught your stream, even though it was just the end of it. I'm going to turn on notifications so I don't miss you next time. You're one of my favorite guests on TYT, which is where I first met you. Have a good evening. Oh, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. That you say that you watch from TYT. Like, yeah, you know, I used to work there. That's like one of the greatest audiences of people I've ever like interacted with. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, hope you're around to watch for more. Please be interactive. I always love that. And until next time, until next week, have a good evening, have a good night, and the power is always with you. Except also not next week because, actually, no, yes, next week. Usually we'll be broadcasting Sunday for Audio Face, but Audio Face is still on break. But check out the Audio Face Awards on youtube.com/audiofacepod, and we'll be posting clips about that throughout the week until we start up again. But yeah, until then now, I'm gonna start to go to sleep. Jesus Christ. Cheers.